It's morning at school. A group of students are chatting about how some guy only hangs out with his girlfriend now. One boy, jealous, swears he'll get the coolest girlfriend in the world. His friend laughs, saying he's been saying that since elementary school. Yuta joins the talk. He also starts thinking about what it would be like to have a girlfriend. He remembers a couple walking down the hallway holding hands. His friend notices him spacing out and asks if he's really never been in love before, because when you fall in love, you can't even sleep. Yuta asks if his friend has ever felt that. He admits he has. Once. He remembers Nodoka Kanzaki. In his memory, she turns to him and says, "Good morning." That short moment makes his heart race. His friend teases him, asking if he's seriously in love with her. He says Nodoka's amazing, smart, kind, and beautiful. But he reminds Yuta that she's on another level. He's just an average guy, while she's like a flower too far to reach. They realize they're late for class and rush off. Later, Yuta's parents, who live abroad, return home earlier than expected. He runs out to buy his little sister's favorite curry. His friend calls him a genuinely nice guy. When he gets home, Yuta finds his sister, Yoru Agatsuma, kneeling at the gate with a strange symbol drawn on the ground. She welcomes him back and proudly says that today she'll summon a demon from the depths of hell. While she's focused on her ritual, Yuta starts thinking again about love and marriage. He wonders if talking to Nodoka more would help him understand what falling in love feels like. Suddenly, Yoru shouts, her magic circle is glowing. She's thrilled that it's working, but Yuta quickly pulls her away, afraid it might explode. A flash of light bursts out, shaking the ground. From the smoke, the lower half of a woman appears, and then a stunning girl floats into view. Yuta stares in shock and blurts out, "Why is there a girl floating in the air?" Yoru screams his name, startled. Yuta rushes to catch the falling girl, accidentally touching her soft skin as he does. She lands safely in his arms. He quickly apologizes, saying he didn't mean to touch her like that. The girl tilts her head, studying him. "Are you really human?" she asks, pinching his cheek. Her face is incredibly cute. She smiles, saying she's glad she finally made it to the human world. Yoru asks if she's a demon. The girl nods and introduces herself as Lars. Yuta is stunned. Yoru celebrates that she actually managed to summon a real demon, but Yuta warns her that demons are dangerous. Yoru argues that not all demons are evil, some are kind. Lars overhears them and smiles. She says she doesn't want to hurt anyone. In fact, she's grateful. "Thank you for summoning me into this world," she says softly. She explains that the human world has become so advanced that hardly anyone summons demons anymore. For her, it's hard to cross over. Ever since she was little, her sister in the demon world told her stories about humans. That's why she always dreamed of coming here. Lars says she's even learned about human culture through the internet. She laughs and mentions watching a drama called Maji Koi. Yoru excitedly says she knows that one. It was really popular a few years ago. Lars gets excited too. In that drama, two strangers sign a contract to be lovers for a year, but they end up truly falling in love. She says she's watched many romances since then and found them beautiful. "I want to experience that," she says. "I want to come to the human world and fall in love." That's my dream, Yuta realizes. They're actually quite similar. They both want to know what love feels like. Suddenly, Lars calls his name. He jumps. She holds out a paper. "This is a contract," she says. "I want you to sign it with me. A love contract." Yuta blinks. "A what?" "It means you'll be my boyfriend," she explains brightly. "No need to read the details. Just sign." He's suspicious. His sister thinks it sounds amazing, but Yuta's still unsure. Lars pouts playfully and says that if he signs, she'll be able to stay in the human world. Yoru gets excited, saying it would be awesome to live with a demon. Yuta hesitates, but then he thinks maybe this could help him learn what love really feels like. So he takes the pen and signs. Lars looks surprised but happy. She reads his name aloud and says it's beautiful. Then she gently takes his hand. "There's one more step," she says. "We need to kiss." Yuta panics. His sister is right there. Instead, Lars bites his finger. "Use your blood to seal the deal," she says. It really is a demon's contract. There are 7 pages to sign, and he fills out each one. When he's done, the air glows. The contract is complete. Lars shines with joy, and Yoru notices a strange mark glowing on Yuta's body. Lars smiles softly. "That mark," she says, "is the proof of our love contract." Lars suddenly gets another idea and steps closer to Yuta, smiling. She says she'll be in his care from now on. Embarrassed, he asks her not to call him with cute nicknames, reminding her that he only signed the contract on impulse. He starts wondering what else was written in that contract that he didn't get to read. Yoru cheers and congratulates her brother for actually going through with it. Then Lars surprises him by asking him out on a date. Even though it's already nighttime, she wants to see the human world as soon as possible. Without waiting for an answer, she gets ready, spreads her wings, and flies into the sky, carrying Yuta in her arms. Yoru shouts after them, saying she bought curry for dinner and he'll have to cook it himself. But she wishes them a fun trip. On the streets, Lars is amazed by everything she sees. She runs from shop to shop, fascinated by all the cute clothes on display. She shows Yuta a dress she finds adorable. He looks at the price tag and nearly chokes. It's way too expensive. When he tells her, she sighs and gives up on the idea. Then she notices another item that catches her eye. It's underwear. She tells him that in her world, they only have black ones, so she's curious about the colorful ones here. Excited, she runs off to try some on. Yuta blushes, realizing this is the first time he's gone shopping like this with a girl. It's overwhelming, but he admits she acts surprisingly human and even kind of cute. Then he spots Nodoka Kanzaki in the same store. Panic hits him. If she sees him here with a girl like Lars, it would be a disaster. He hurries to hide, accidentally opening a fitting room door. Inside, Lars is already half dressed in her underwear. Both of them freeze in shock. He stumbles forward, falling right into her chest. To stop himself from falling, his hands land there too. Flustered, he jumps back, stammering apologies. But Lars only giggles and says he doesn't waste any time. He blushes harder, realizing it's the first time he's ever seen a girl's body in person. Suddenly, Lars pulls the curtain closed. "Look at me properly," she says softly. "When a demon shows their mark, it means love. And when a man kisses that mark, it means he'll love her until the end." Yuta stares, unsure what "until the end" really means. Lars gazes at him with warm, affectionate eyes. Just then, a store employee calls out from outside, asking if she's chosen the right size. The curtain shifts slightly, and the employee freezes after catching a glimpse of them together. Yuta's heart pounds. He remembers what Lars said about the mark meaning love. Could she already be in love with him? It's terrifying. They just met. Lars notices his red face and teases him for being embarrassed. Before he can respond, two rough-looking guys bump into Lars. They glare at her and ask if she's looking for a fight. Yuta quickly steps forward, saying they were the ones who bumped into her first. One of the bullies grabs Yuta by the collar, sneering that he's trying to act tough. Then he punches him, saying he's jealous. Lars yells his name, frightened. The thugs laugh and tell her to forget the weak guy and come have fun with them instead. Yuta clenches his fists. He says this is wrong. He doesn't even know why he's doing this, but his anger builds. He yells, "Don't touch my girlfriend!" and swings at the bully. The man easily dodges it and laughs, calling Yuta weak. Then he turns to Lars again. Her eyes glow. "What did you just do to my beloved?" she says coldly. She points her fingers at them. The bullies stop laughing. Suddenly, one attacks the other, and the two start brawling like wild animals. Yuta stares, horrified. "What did you do to them?" Lars smiles. "I'm a demon of wrath," she explains. "I can control human anger." Yuta is stunned. She continues, "If I got serious, I could make everyone in this world furious. That would mean the end of everything." He's terrified now, realizing how dangerous she could be. But Lars reassures him, smiling sweetly. "Don't worry, I won't do anything, unless you cheat on me." She leans closer. This is only the beginning. Anyone who signs a love contract can't date another human while it's active. Yuta gulps. "Hypothetically, how could the contract be cancelled?" Lars answers calmly. "For that to happen, the contractor would have to lose their life." Yuta freezes. He's just a normal guy. He only wanted a girlfriend and a happy life. Now he's tied to a demon who could destroy the world. Panicking, he runs home, thinking Yoru might know what to do. When he arrives, Yoru rushes to him. "We've got a problem," she says. The magic circle started glowing again. Lars appears behind him and smiles. "Oh, perfect. Everyone's arriving." "Everyone?" Yuta asks, confused. She nods. "You signed 7 love contracts, remember? So there will be 7 of us." Yuta's face goes pale. "Wait, 7!" One by one, the other demon girls appear. Gree, the demon of greed. Rubia, the demon of pride. Sloth, the demon of sloth. Lust, the demon of lust. Levi, the demon of envy. Belai, the demon of gluttony. Each one greets him warmly, thanking him for summoning them. Stunned, Yuta asks about the rule that forbids multiple relationships. Lars smiles and says, "That only applies to humans. You can have as many demon girlfriends as you like." Yuta sighs in frustration. "You could have told me that earlier." He mutters that he's never been in love before, and now he has to love 7 girls at once. What started as a dream has turned into a nightmare. 7 girlfriends, each powerful enough to destroy the world. The next morning, Yuta wakes up in bed. For a moment, he hopes it was all just a dream. But as he goes downstairs, he remembers cooking curry for a bunch of people last, and his hands still hurt. Then Lars greets him cheerfully, followed by the other demon girls. Lust wishes him good morning. Sloth yawns, saying she's still sleepy. Gree teases him for waking up late. Rubia scolds him for being lazy. Levi reminds him that everyone's already eaten, but Lee whines that she's still hungry. Yuta realizes they're all living in his house now. They explain they're all daughters of Lena, a higher demon. They weren't born from her body but share her essence, so they've been together since birth. A precious family. Lars tells Yuta to treat them kindly. Yuta, overwhelmed, can't even remember all their names. Yoru laughs and says she'll make name tags for everyone. Lars then asks if there's a good restaurant nearby. Yoru suggests a Japanese one, though it's a bit far. Yuta watches them chat and realizes how easily his sister has gotten used to having demons around. It's hard to believe these girls could destroy the world. Still, he can't shake the feeling that something's not right. Before he can think further, one of the girls leans close and says he looks too serious. His face turns red as she teases him, asking how he plans to handle living with 7 girls. Gree laughs and says, "If you ever have a problem, just come to me. I'll take care of it." Yuta starts feeling embarrassed again. He wonders if the girl in front of him is the older sister. Then the girl makes a request. She asks him to lend her some money from the human world. Yuta gives her 1,000 yen, everything he has. With that, the matter seems settled, and they all decide to go to the restaurant together. Yuta looks at the table and realizes that all the girls have disappeared. He's the only one left behind. He starts to question whether their wish to experience love was even real. Maybe it was all just an excuse. Maybe the contract was a lie. Feeling desperate, he even wonders if his house has become the base of world destruction. But then someone catches his attention. A girl nearby asks him to be quiet because she's trying to sleep. Then she calls him over. Yuta, still exhausted from everything that happened, walks toward her. The girl takes his hand, pulls him close, and hugs him, pressing his face against her chest. She tells him his body is perfect to use as a pillow. Yuta thinks her body feels soft and warm, but he's also being suffocated. He tries to move, but she's too strong. The girl says the deeper he sleeps, the faster his spirit will recover. Yuta looks up at her, gasping for air, until he finally starts squirming and trying to get free by gently pushing her away. The pressure weakens, and he manages to escape. He apologizes, saying he couldn't breathe properly. Then he notices he's holding something and asks what it is. Turns out it's the strap from Slow's outfit. And it broke. Embarrassed, she quickly asks him to give it back. Awkwardly, Yuta apologizes again. Slow blushes and says they should wait a little longer before doing things like that. But she also thanks him. Yuta looks a bit more cheerful now. As he thought, Slow was just trying to cheer him up. She tells him to relax because they're not the kind of demons he's imagining. Still confused, Yuta says it's strange to be the boyfriend of 7 demons at once. Slow finds that funny. Yuta then asks why he was chosen out of all the humans in the world. Slow explains, when Lars appeared, Yuta protected his sister, and there are no bad people who protect their family. Yuta asks if that's really the only reason. Slow says yes because Lars has a recording device inside her, and that's how they know. She adds that it's important to them that Yuta isn't a bad person who would abuse their powers. She also says they wouldn't destroy the world. That would just be boring. Then she sums things up. The 7 of them came to the human world because they wanted to experience love. Yuta is surprised and asks if Slow wants that too. She blushes and starts to answer, but falls asleep mid-conversation. She was that tired. Yuta looks at her, wondering what to do next. Suddenly, he gets a call from his sister, Yoru. She sounds panicked and says something terrible has happened, telling him to come right away. When Yuta arrives at the restaurant, he finds out what happened. They all ate a lot, but no one has money to pay. Most of the food was ordered by Gree, and the total bill comes to 50,000 yen. Yuta realizes he's basically being used as a walking wallet now. The waitress asks if there's any adult he can call. Yuta sighs, thinking back to Slow's words. She didn't seem like the type to lie. He doesn't know what to do. Yoru says she'll pay with her salary, but needs them to wait a little longer. Looking tired, Yuta says that since this whole mess started because of him, he'll take responsibility. Then Gree steps forward and asks where the bill is. She takes out 60,000 yen from her wallet and hands it to the waitress. She says she earned it from gambling, using the 1,000 yen Yuta lent her earlier. She also returns the money she borrowed, saying it'll cover all 7 girls' expenses. Another girl asks what all the noise is about. One of the demon girls apologizes for bothering him, while another scolds the others. All of them then walk up to Yuta and apologize together. One offers him some food from the restaurant as a gift. Then, still apologizing, they hug him. Gree says she'll handle the bill, and Yuta remembers what Sloth said. Maybe these girls really don't have bad intentions after all. Suddenly, his classmate, Kanzaki, shows up at his house, wearing cute clothes. Curious, the girls ask who she is. Yuta explains she's his classmate. Lars immediately introduces herself as Yuta's girlfriend. Kanzaki is shocked to hear that, and even more surprised when two more girls also call themselves his girlfriends. Kanzaki can't believe it when one of them says there are actually 7 girlfriends in total. Yuta nervously tries to explain, saying there's a reason behind it. Then he ushers them all back inside, saying they can talk about it another time. Kanzaki just stands there, still thinking about that 7 girlfriends comment. She looks back at Yuta's house, still puzzled. Inside, Yuta wonders if his classmate now hates him because of that situation. Then the doorbell rings. Yuta opens the door and sees a woman's silhouette. It's Kanzaki again. She says he forgot his lunch, so she came to return it. Yuta panics, having no idea how to explain the situation to her. His sister loudly announces that his classmate is here and suggests they invite her for tea. Yuta hesitates, saying it might bother Kanzaki since she's busy, but Kanzaki agrees. The two of them go upstairs together. At the table, Yuta can't believe Kanzaki is sitting in his house. One of the girlfriends peeks at them through a crack in the door. Another asks why they can't join, but the first girl reminds her that Kanzaki is Yuta's guest, not theirs. Jealous, the girl grumbles about it. Sloth suddenly wakes up and asks where her body pillow went. At the dining table, Kanzaki asks Yuta how he met his 7 girlfriends. Yuru remembers that her brother told her to keep it a secret that the girls are demons. She wonders how he's going to explain it. Yuta is sweating nervously, because telling the truth might be too dangerous. Suddenly, there's a loud crash. Yuta runs over to where the girls are to tell them to quiet down. But what he sees shocks him. 2 girls are tangled up on the floor. He demands to know what happened while he was gone. Sloth says Yuta is incredibly huggable, which makes the other girls jealous. One of them complains that they're acting like spoiled children. Another points out that Lars has always been jealous of Sloth, and now that jealousy has shifted toward Yuta. Yuta steps between them, telling them to stop fighting. But before he can calm things down, strange things start happening. Objects float into the air, even Kanzaki's teacup. She screams in surprise. Yuta remembers the rule from their contract. He must love all of them equally. The thought shocks him. Sloth sarcastically comments that Lars still has the same explosive temper. Lars gets even angrier, and a bunch of objects fly toward Yuta. The girls panic and rush over to check on him. 2 of them fall right on top of him. Yuta realizes their awkward position, and both girls blush. He quickly apologizes again. Then they hear another noise. Tea spills all over Kanzaki, soaking her clothes. Yuta rushes to check if she's burned. He decides to tell her the truth about everything. Lars and Sloth both apologize, and Kanzaki listens to the whole story, about the contracts and how it all started because of Yuru. Instead of being angry, Kanzaki is amazed. She says it's incredible that demons actually exist. Lars desperately asks her to forgive them, but Kanzaki just smiles and says it's fine. Then sneezes. In Yoru's room, Kanzaki changes into one of her spare outfits. Lars says that's better than catching a cold. Yoru shows her a dress, but Kanzaki is too shy to wear her clothes. Lars asks what her boyfriend, Yuta, is like at school. Kanzaki thinks for a moment, then says Yuta takes classes seriously, does all his homework, and is kind to everyone. Hearing that, Lars smiles, saying she imagined he'd be that way. She thanks Kanzaki for being his friend. Kanzaki reflects on that word, friend. Lars says she wishes she could experience a school life, like the ones she sees in dramas. As Kanzaki leaves, she thanks them for lending her the shirt. Yuta tries to say something, but she stops him, saying it's okay. She won't tell anyone about the demons. She also says she looks forward to getting along with them. One of the girlfriends remarks that Kanzaki seems really nice and even complimented Yuta, but refuses to say what she said exactly. Yuta chases after her, demanding to know. Meanwhile, Kanzaki walks through the streets thinking that Yuta didn't really seem like a guy dating 7 girls at once. She remembers the story about the love contracts and wonders if the number of his girlfriends will keep increasing. Back at home, Yuta holds a meeting with his demon girlfriends. He reminds them not to use their powers or fight. One of the girls asks about something he said earlier, that this had already happened before. She explains that once Yuta accidentally knocked her over, Embarrassed, he insists it was an accident. Now the other girls look at him, jealous. They all say they want to be knocked over by him too. Yuta sighs, realizing his future will be very difficult. These demons might be powerful enough to destroy the world, but they've ended up making love contracts instead. Later, everyone relaxes at home watching mukbang videos online. They chat happily and seem to enjoy life in the human world. Even if it isn't exactly love, they're all living together. And Yuta thinks it'd be nice if they could get along. One of the girls lectures Gree about using up too many household supplies. Gree looks annoyed. She had spent nearly 1,000 yen just on food that week. The other girl says if Gree wants to eat that much, she needs to get a job. Then she calls Yuta over and asks what kind of job Gree should do. She lists ideas, maybe a maid, or even a bunny girl at a casino. Embarrassed, Yuta says they should think of something more normal. Gree listens carefully to him, then suddenly runs off. Yuta follows her upstairs. To him, Belle, the gluttony demon, is the hardest to read. She rarely shows emotion. When he enters her room, he hears her saying she doesn't want to work. She quotes, "If you don't work, you don't eat," and asks why Yuta is so eager to work. She says that if she works, she'll just get hungry. And she's already hungry, even after eating. She's always hungry. Yuta points out that, even so, you need money to eat. That frustrates her. He adds that food tastes better when you've worked for it. Belle says he doesn't understand her at all. She explains that every demon has unique traits. The others can control theirs, but she can't. Her hunger is constant because her power affects her body. The same thing happens with Slow, who's always sleepy. Yuta realizes that even demons have personal struggles. Still, he says, they need money to eat. As he's standing close, he notices how cute she looks. Then Belle says she'll make him understand what her hunger feels like. She suddenly lunges forward and touches his forehead. Yuta remembers that Lars did something similar before. Right away, he feels something strange. His stomach turns empty, his mind filled with hunger. Belle asks if he understands now how unbearable it is. Desperate, Yuta says he just needs something, anything, to eat. Without thinking, he grabs Belle's leg and bites it. Shocked, she yells, asking what he's doing. Yuta, dizzy with hunger, says his body is moving on its own. All he can notice is how soft her thighs are. Belle blushes slightly. Then two other girlfriends open the door after hearing the noise and are completely shocked by what they see. Lars's eyes fill with tears. Jealous, she tackles Yuta and Belle, crying that she feels betrayed. Yuta doesn't know what to do. Lars presses his head between her thighs and says he can do whatever he wants. Another girl teases, asking if bare thighs wouldn't be better. Annoyed, Yuta says he has no interest in thighs and tells Belle to come with him. They leave the house and walk together through the city streets. He says home isn't the right place to talk seriously. As they walk, they hold hands. Belle looks at their hands and quietly says she realizes something. It's wrong to rely only on Gree for money. She needs to earn her own, but she's scared to work among humans. Yuta understands. It's their first time living in the human world after. He thinks about how he'd feel if he had to work in the demon world. Belle might be a demon, but emotionally, she's just like a normal girl. Yuta apologizes for being harsh and says he'll help her find a place where she can work comfortably. Belle was touched by Yuta's kindness. Together, they walked around the city looking for job openings. After a while, they stopped near a restaurant where Kanzaki was cleaning the sidewalk. "Yuta, what are you doing here?" she asked. He smiled a bit awkwardly. "Actually, we're looking for a job for Belle." Kanzaki thanked Belle for always visiting her shop and said one of her workers had just quit. Yuta's eyes lit up. "Really? Then maybe Belle can work here." Kanzaki smiled. "That would be great. Meals are included too." Belle hesitated at first, but quickly agreed once she heard about the meals. "Okay, I'll take it." The deal was made. Yuta promised to visit her at work with the others sometime. Belle gently pulled on his sleeve and said softly, "Thank you, Yuta. You really helped me." He blushed and scratched his head. "It's nothing special." When they returned home, Lars immediately asked with a jealous tone, "Where were you two?" Yuta laughed nervously. "We've found a job for Belle." Everyone was happy for her, but soon Bree and Slow began arguing about who would sleep next to Yuta that night. While they fought, he quietly slipped away to take a shower. On the way to the bathroom, Yuta suddenly froze. Lust was standing there calmly. Lust, do you need the bathroom?" he asked nervously. Without moving, she crossed her legs and said softly, "Kiss me." Yuta's face turned bright red. What? What did you say?" Still calm, Lust repeated, "Please kiss me." Completely flustered, Yuta stammered, "A kiss isn't something you do suddenly. There are steps to follow first." Lust lowered her head. "I'm sorry, that was inappropriate of me." Then she quietly turned and walked away. That night, lying in bed, Yuta couldn't stop thinking about her words. He realized Lust hadn't been joking. She really wanted to kiss him. Maybe he'd been too harsh. Before falling asleep, he decided he would talk to her the next day. When morning came, Yuta noticed something strange. He couldn't move. For a moment, he thought he was paralyzed, until he realized 3 demon girls were sleeping around him. One was hugging his arm, another was lying on top of him, and the third was holding his leg. The first one to wake up smiled sleepily. "Good morning, Yuta," he yelled. "We agreed to sleep separately." In the kitchen, Yura was surprised to see her brother awake so early. Soon after, Lust walked in, already dressed. "I'll be going out," she said calmly. "Out? This early?" Yura asked. Lust didn't answer and left. At the restaurant, Kanzaki looked surprised when Lust appeared. "Lust? We're not open yet. I wanted to ask you something," Lust said politely. Kanzaki tilted her head. "What is it?" Lust looked serious. "In the dramas I've watched, couples start kissing as soon as they start dating. Is that normal for humans?" Kanzaki blushed. "Of course not. That's just TV. In Japan, a kiss has real meaning here. It's not something you do right away." Lust nodded slowly. "I understand. Thank you." Kanzaki then asked, "Why didn't you ask Yoru instead?" Lust smiled faintly. "Because I knew you would give me an honest answer." Then she spread her wings and flew away, leaving Kanzaki speechless. Later that morning, Yuta was on his way to school, still thinking about Lust's request. His friend Ryota ran up to him. "Hey, you've been avoiding me lately. Don't tell me you got a girlfriend." Yuta laughed awkwardly. "Something like that." On their way to class, they saw Sato kissing a girl in public. Ryota groaned and ran off, upset. Yuta was stunned. Sato was usually so shy. Then Kanzaki came running up, out of breath. "Yuta, something strange is happening. Everyone in town is kissing and hugging. Even my parents." She explained that she thought Lust might have something to do with it. Each of her sisters has her own power, right? Maybe Lust's powers went out of control. After school, Yuta hurried home. The demon girls were watching the news. Reports showed people all over Japan acting overly affectionate. Rubia crossed her arms. "This has gotten serious." Yuta frowned. "Don't tell me this is Lust's power." Before anyone could reply, Slow and Bell suddenly jumped on him, hugging him tightly. "What are you doing?" Yuta shouted. The other girls rushed to pull them away. Gree looked worried. "It's Lust's influence. Even we're being affected." Rubia nodded. "Her powers must be unstable. If this keeps up, the whole city could lose control." Yuta glanced toward Lust's locked room. "Then we have to stop her. Before it's too late." Desperate, Yuta asked what started the chaos and how they could stop it. Gree crossed her arms, thinking hard. "It probably began because Lust's desires weren't fulfilled. She must have lost control. A cut shows Lust locked in her room, surrounded by red light. Her magic is spiraling wildly, shaking the air. She's completely unstable," Rubia said. "We need to bring her back before it gets worse." Then she turned to Yuta. "What do you think, Yuta?" Before he could answer, Gree added, "Remember that family crest? It's also a kind of gauge. It shows how much affection the contractor, meaning you, has for the demon." She revealed a glowing mark on her shoulder. "When the contractor's affection fades, so does the mark. And if it disappears completely," Rubia finished her sentence, serious, "then the demon loses control of her powers. That's what's happening to Lust." Yuta frowned. "Wait, so it's because of me?" Rubia nodded. "Probably. There's a small clause in the contract about this, but it was written backward. You wouldn't have been able to notice. It's an extremely rare case." Gree hesitated. "Still, I don't think Lust is just desperate for affection. It feels deeper than that." Her words hung heavy in the air. Yuta looked down, unsure. "So that's what she really wants from me." He looked at the girls. "You're all okay with this?" Rubia sighed. "We don't mind. Only you can bring Lust back to normal." Gree nodded. "Just give her a strong hug and a passionate kiss. That should calm her power." She added with a smirk, "Honestly, the whole city looks like Lust's heart right now, full of people showing affection." Rubia frowned. "Don't go too far. You should only do those things with me." But after a moment, even she softened. "Still, Lust is suffering. You have to help her." Yuta took a deep breath. "I understand." The girls wished him luck as he walked toward Lust's room. He thought to himself, a quick hug and kiss should be enough, right? But his heart pounded. He wasn't sure if he could really do it. Inside the room, Lust was lying in bed, asleep. When Yuta stepped closer, her eyes slowly opened. She could sense his presence. He froze. Her clothes were messy, and she looked exhausted. "Lust?" he stammered. "Are you okay? Can you hear me?" He noticed the faint glow of her crest. It was almost gone. There was no time to waste. "I'm sorry," Lust said weakly. Her voice trembled. Yuta realized she was feeling deeply guilty. "Why are you apologizing?" he asked softly. She looked down. "Because I caused all this trouble. I misunderstood humans. I thought couples started kissing right away. Yuta blinked, surprised by her honesty. I learned I was wrong after visiting Kanzaki, Lust continued. She told me that kisses are special. And because they're special, people don't share them so easily. Her eyes grew sad. I was too forward. Yuta smiled gently. It's okay. But Lust shook her head. No, when I came home that day, I overheard the others saying you'd never kissed anyone before. I was sure you had. I thought I was the only one left behind. Now Yuta finally understood. He had always thought Lust was the most mature, calm, confident, experienced, but deep down she just wanted to be accepted like everyone else. Quietly, he stepped forward and wrapped his arms around her. Lust gasped, Yuta. He held her tighter. I wanted to do this. I wanted to hug you. Her heart pounded against his chest. Inside, Yuta was embarrassed to say such things out loud, but he pushed through. I might not understand everything about being your contractor, but I can't stand seeing you in pain, so I'll work hard. I'll make sure you never have to cry again. Lust's eyes widened. Then, for the first time in a while, she smiled faintly. Thank you, Yuta. The glow of her crest suddenly brightened and returned to its full shape. Yuta realized it had been on a very sensitive part of her body, and quickly looked away, face red. Sorry, he blurted. Lust also blushed. It's fine, I'm sorry for that part being exposed. Yuta rubbed the back of his neck. We didn't even kiss, but the crest came back. Guess that means she's satisfied, he thought. Lust called softly, Yuta, I'm sorry again. He smiled. I'm partly to blame too. She nodded. Then let's make sure this doesn't happen again. She stepped closer. I'll do my best from now on, she said with a determined smile, leaving Yuta both confused and flustered. Meanwhile, the other demon girls were waiting impatiently. Slow yawn. What's taking Lust so long? Then Lust appeared in the doorway, calm and smiling. The others instantly realized she was back to normal. At that same moment, Yuta's phone rang. It was Kanzaki. Yuta, my parents are back to normal. The whole town's acting fine again. That's great, Yuta said, relieved. I'll explain everything later. I'm kind of busy right now. Kanzaki sounded confused. Busy? With what?
Hey guys, sorry for mid-editing, but I noticed a lot of you are watching my videos without subscribing. Our subscribe ratio is literally close to 0. I'd really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button. It helps a lot. Thanks. Now, back to the recap.
He hung up gently, smiling to himself. Back home, Yuta told Yoru everything that happened. She listened carefully, then nodded. So it really was demonic power causing all that chaos. Yeah, Yuta said. Then he narrowed his eyes. By the way, why did you come home so late? Yoru froze, looking guilty. That's a long story. Yoru explained that the president of the Dark Magic Club told them to perform a calming ritual. She rolled her eyes. As if something like that would actually work. At that moment, chaos broke out again. The demon girls were arguing over who would sleep beside Yuta. He sighed. Seriously, we're doing this again? Lust crossed her arms. I'll be the one sleeping with Yuta tonight. The others immediately shouted back, saying Lust already had her chance. Lust snapped. Oh, please, he slept beside you all last night. Yuta froze for a second, finally realizing what Lust meant earlier, when she said she'd do her best. Then Livy smiled sweetly and leaned toward him. Yuta Tilda, did you do anything indecent with Lust? His face turned red. Of course not, I didn't do anything. Livy tilted her head playfully. Oh, then don't you want to do those things with me instead? He choked on his words, flustered. What are you even talking about? She grinned, lowering her voice. You know, what lovers do in bed to deepen their love. Do I really have to explain it? Yuta froze, thinking about what she said. Then he quickly let go of her hand. No way. That's not happening. After all, the most he'd ever done was hug Lust. Anything more would definitely be too much. He turned and said firmly, Dinner's ready, let's go. Livy frowned, clearly disappointed, but she followed quietly. Later that night, Yuta lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. I mean, I'm a high school guy. Of course I think about that kind of thing, he admitted to himself. Then he heard a noise. His heart jumped. Is that Levy again? He thought, imagining her sneaking into his room and climbing on top of him, whispering about deepening their love. But it was just his chair creaking. He sighed and lay back down, closing his eyes. His mind drifted to the past few days, especially what happened with Lust. The next morning, Yuta found himself surrounded by the demon girls again. Even on my day off, I can't get anything done, he muttered. Lust raised an eyebrow. Are you complaining about us? He quickly denied it. No, I'm just saying. He noticed that Levy hadn't teased him since last night. Maybe she was just messing with me, he thought. Just then, Lars burst into the room. Hey, stop clinging to him before I even got a turn. The contract says everything has to be fair. She hugged Yuta tightly. He sighed. She's right. The contract does require equality. I can't do something with one of them without the others knowing. Suddenly, Levy appeared at the door. Yuta, your sister's calling you. Oh, okay, he said, standing up. They walked downstairs together. Maybe it's about that power outage last night, Yuta said. When they reached the first floor, he looked around. So, where's Yoru? Levy pointed. Try checking the closet. Yuta frowned. There's no way she's in the... Before he could finish, Levy pushed him into the closet and slammed the door shut. What? He froze as the small space went dark, and then Levy climbed on top of him. Hey, open the door, he shouted, trying to push it. It's locked, Levy said with a sly smile. With magic. Why did you lie about Yoru? Because, she whispered, her eyes glowing faintly, I want to do naughty things with you. Yuta's heart almost stopped. She's serious this time. Levy continued. When I heard you and Lust kissed, I was shocked. Lust even said she wanted to go further, so now I won't hold back anymore. Her words left Yuta completely overwhelmed. You want to do it too, right? She teased. You're surrounded by beautiful girls every day. Don't pretend you don't think about it. Wait, Yuta stammered. We can't. The contract says everything has to be equal, Levy giggled. That's true, but I'm a demon. Why would I care about following human rules? Yuta's eyes widened. The others will find out. I don't care. Levy cut him off. You already did it with Lust. I want to monopolize you for myself. Yuta was trapped, literally. He tried to move, but Levy pressed her body against his back. Before he could react, she kissed the glowing contract mark on his lower back. The mark flared, and instantly the other demon girls across the house felt it. They dropped what they were doing, all furious. Moments later, Lust burst into the closet. Levy, what are you doing? Lars glared at Yuta. Did you two... No, nothing happened, Yuta shouted, panicking. But when he tried to move closer to them, he noticed something strange. Lars, Rubia, and Belle couldn't come near him. They stepped back, confused and tense. What's wrong? He asked. Rubia crossed her arms. We can't get close to you. It's like there's a barrier. Yuta blinked. A barrier? Rubia frowned. Levy's kiss must have done something. Come with me. She grabbed his hand. Surprisingly, she could touch him, and pulled him away. Yuta was still lost. Why can you touch me and they can't? Because I'm Pride, Rubia said simply. My magic resists that kind of control. She led him outside. We'll talk somewhere private. Yuta's mind spun. What's going on? Rubia looked serious. Did Levy kiss you anywhere on your body? Yuta blushed. Why does that matter? Because her kiss isn't just a kiss, Rubia explained. It's a binding spell. One that lets her monopolize her contractor for a limited time. Yuta froze. Monopolize me? She nodded. Basically, she marked you as hers. Until the spell wears off, none of us can get close. He couldn't believe what he was hearing. Rubia sighed. Don't panic, we'll figure it out once your energy stabilizes. For now, going home would just make things worse. Before they could say more, Kanzaki appeared nearby. Ah, Yuta, Rubia, are you two okay? She asked, blinking. You're not, looking for somewhere private, are you? Yuta turned red. No, things just went wrong and I can't go home right now. Kanzaki tilted her head. You can use my room then. They followed her upstairs. As she opened the door, she smiled nervously. I'll be nearby if you need anything. Inside, Yuta looked around. Unlike Yoru's messy room, this one's clean and smells nice. When the door shut, Rubia turned sharply toward him. Where exactly did she kiss you? He hesitated. On my back, kind of near my hips. Outside, Kanzaki lingered by the door, torn between curiosity and guilt. Should I peek, she wondered? What could they possibly be talking about that's so private? Unless, no way. They're not actually doing something, right? She shook her head. No, Agitsuma-kun would never do that. Inside the room, Rubia supports Yuta and lifts his shirt to check his back. After a moment, she finds the mark she was looking for. Pressing close against him, she tells him to look in the mirror. Placing her hands on his side, she asks him to find the mark near his hip. Yuta yells that it's a sensitive spot, but there really is a tattoo just above his waist. They both look at it together, their bodies close. Meanwhile, Kanzaki watches through the door, shocked to see them using her mirror for something that looks indecent. Finally able to see the mark, Yuta asks what it is, realizing it's the same one all the demon girls have. Rubia explains that, just like their body pillows, Yuta now carries the seal of the demon contract. She says that if a demon kisses that mark, it activates a curse that keeps the other demon girls from getting close to him. Confused, Yuta points out that Rubia and Lust were still able to approach him. Rubia explains that it's only because her magic, and Lust's, is stronger than Levy's. She then shows him a chart with all 7 demon girls and says their powers are ranked, with hers near the top. If the contract isn't complete, the stronger demons can still approach him. Still unsure, Yuta asks how that affects the love contract, since it says everything must be shared equally. Rubia uses lust as an example, saying the outbreak of lustful magic last time was a side effect of the ancient love contracts. Spells meant to pull 2 partners together by force. Levy simply used one of those old spells, even though it hasn't been cast in ages. And because she's a demon, she used it in broad daylight instead of waiting for everyone to sleep. Yuta thinks about Levy, the demon of jealousy. Even though the body pillow contract is supposed to be fair, demons of love don't always follow rules. He remembers that Levy herself said as much. Rubia warns him that from now on, all of them will want to claim him for themselves. Yuta is left speechless. Outside the door, Kanzaki listens carefully. When Yuta nervously asks if Rubia also wants him, she turns red and looks away, unsure how to answer. Then, pretending to be angry, she demands that he kneel. Yuta wonders if he said something wrong. Looking proud, Rubia asks if he really thinks a beautiful woman like her would want him. Then she grabs his collar and says he should feel honored, because yes, it's true. The magnificent Rubia-sama does want him all to herself. Yuta blushes, admitting to himself that she really is beautiful. Still gripping his shirt, Rubia tells him to call her beautiful Rubia. Outside, Kanzaki is stunned by the whole scene. When Yuta hesitates, Rubia yells at him to say it already. Embarrassed, he mumbles that it's too awkward to say. Rubia freezes for a moment, and Yuta accidentally slips, letting out a shout. Kanzaki bursts into the room, catching them in the middle of the mess. Covering her eyes, Kanzaki scolds them for doing such things in her room. Yuta hurriedly apologizes and explains everything about the monopoly spell and the contract curse. Kanzaki looks completely stunned. Yuta tells her not to worry and that he won't cause more trouble. She awkwardly nods and says it's fine. As they leave, she wonders if she's being left out and sighs, thinking it must be tough living surrounded by demons. Maybe, she thinks, he should try dating a human instead, but quickly shakes the thought off, knowing Yuta gets along with everyone. Later, back at his apartment, Yuta sits on the couch telling one of the demon girls that he only caused more problems for Kanzaki. The girl apologizes sweetly, saying she won't do anything like that again. Another demon girl says she doesn't believe her, but Yuta can't stop thinking about this whole monopoly thing. He thought things were going well with all of them. Then he notices Rubia sitting on the floor watching him silently, looking annoyed. He thinks to himself that she probably hates him now. Yuru walks in with her phone, showing a picture of Gree. Lars asks if Rubia is watching that soap opera again, but Rubia is distracted, her eyes fixed on Yuta in the living room. Her friend teases that Rubia is a big fan of romance dramas, and Rubia awkwardly agrees. Lars jokes that they should watch a steamier one with lots of bedroom scenes, but Rubia snaps and refuses harshly. The next morning, Slow walks into the kitchen and asks Belle where Gree went. Belle says Gree went out to take care of something. Slow wonders what she's up to. Belle asks if Slow doesn't want a job too and adds that the food is delicious. The following day, while walking through Tokyo with Yoru, Yuta spots Gree at a cafe surrounded by girls. Curious, he wonders what's going on. Gree is charming and playful, teasing the girls and asking if they want to learn the secret of being popular. 2 stylish servers greet Yuta and Yoru, welcoming them to Cafe Amalant. Yuta explains that he came because he saw a picture of Gree online and thought she might be here. Seeing him, Gree excuses herself from the girls and approaches him with a bright smile, calling him her dear gentleman. Yuta blushes at her words. They sit down as tea is served. Gree asks what brings him there and if he and Yoru like this kind of place. Yuta denies it quickly, saying he only came because he found her photo online. With a teasing smile, Gree says that mysterious girls are the most fascinating, don't you think? Yuta admits he can never read her real intentions. Finally, he asks what kind of cafe this is. Gree explains that it's a concept cafe where customers can relax and talk with girls dressed like handsome guys. Yuta is surprised such a place even exists. Gree points to Yoru, laughing that his little sister seems to be enjoying herself with the staff. Yuta asks Gree what made her want to work at a place like this. Gree smiles and says there are many interesting ways to make a living in the human world, and this cafe is special. A place where human desire and greed meet. If she has to earn money, she might as well do it somewhere entertaining. Yuta thinks how perfectly that fits the demon of greed. Curious, he asks if that's what she meant earlier when she talked about the secret to popularity. Gree laughs, teasing him for actually wanting to know. Before she can explain, someone calls out to her. A girl from across the room asks if Gree isn't coming back soon. Standing up, Gree takes the girl's hands and apologizes for being apart from her, promising that her feelings won't change. With sparkling eyes, the girl agrees to wait. Gree smiles warmly and returns to Yuta's table. She asks if he saw that, saying that is the secret. Yuta sighs and says it just sounded like a bunch of embarrassing lines. Gree laughs and tells him that if he says those things carelessly, he might end up in trouble, like what happened with Lust. She points out that Lust almost lost control because of that kind of emotional overload. Yuta admits he's been thinking the same thing. If one of the girls wants him too much, it'll break the balance again, just like before. They managed to calm things down last time, but if it happens again, he has no idea what would happen. Worried, he asks Gree what he should do. She grins, calling him cute even when he's serious. Holding his hands gently, she says it's complicated, but also simple. He just needs to give each girl what she truly wants. That way they'll feel loved and satisfied. But Yuta looks puzzled. He wonders what they really want. Thinking back to what Gree told that customer earlier, he realizes those were probably the same words Gree herself wanted to hear. The effect was instant. He then thinks about himself. It's hard to say what he'd want to hear in return, so he asks her what to say when you don't know what the other person wants. Before she can answer, someone suddenly yells Gree's name. The entire cafe goes quiet. Someone tells her to hide. Quickly, a girl bursts in, shouting in disappointment that Gree isn't there. She cries out, asking if the demon girl won't accept her unconditional love. Staff members rush over and drag her away. Yoru, standing nearby, is stunned. She recognizes the girl as one of her own friends, and can't believe she's been coming to this cafe and is obsessed with Gree too. Meanwhile, Gree pulls Yuta into a storage room to hide. The space is tight, forcing them close together. Pressing against him playfully, Gree makes a teasing remark. Yuta awkwardly asks to leave, but Gree wraps her arms around him and says they should stay hidden until things calm down. Her chest presses against him, making him blush. Yuta starts to suspect she put them in this position on purpose. Outside, the love-struck girl keeps shouting Gree's name. Yuta asks if she's a regular. Gree nods, saying the girl always comes during her shifts. Even though Gree gave her everything she wanted and more, the selfish girl still wanted Gree all to herself. Because of that, the cafe management had to stop them from meeting. Yuta still doesn't get it. If Gree makes everyone happy, why did that girl lose control? Gree leans in close and explains softly that he's right. It's the same problem that happened with lust. If you don't love a person enough, their heart becomes unstable. But if you love them too much, they can also lose control from possessiveness. She tells him to stay quiet and says girls' emotions are complicated. Still, if someone loses control, he just needs to give in to their desires for a while and things will calm down again. Stroking his hair gently, she says she believes he can do that. After all, he managed to satisfy Lust's needs once before. She advises him to do the same next time. Gree smirks and suggests that maybe he should give her what she wants right now. She slowly lifts his shirt, but Yuta refuses. Ignoring him, she playfully pushes herself onto him, saying she taught him so much and deserves better treatment. Trying to think fast, Yuta wonders if he should try doing something just to calm her down. But before he can speak, Gree tells him he's not ready. Without thinking, Yuta hugs her tightly. Gree freezes, surprised by the sudden move. Pulling back slightly, she admits she didn't expect that. Then blushing, she says he didn't quite give her what she wanted, but maybe that counts as the right answer anyway. Opening the storage room door, Gree steps out with a playful smile. Yuta reflects on what she told him, realizing she might be right. Gree adds softly that this is exactly why the demon of wrath chose him in the first place. Later, back home, Yuta collapses onto his bed, exhausted. Lying there, he thinks about everything Gree said about desire. It's been a while since he made the love contract with the 7 demons, and he's still confused by all the things they've done for him, and the affection they show. He finally decides he'll try to be more thoughtful from now on, and make each of them smile more. Staring at the ceiling, he wonders if this is what true love feels like. Rolling from side to side, he admits he's never experienced love before, so he can only guess. Then he thinks about Yoru, who's been acting strangely lately. He decides he'll ask her tomorrow if she's feeling better. The next day, Yoru confronts her friend, saying she saw her at the cafe and asks why she was acting that way. Her friend, the president of the school's dark magic club, doesn't deny it. Instead, she proudly says that she and Gree are destined for each other. Excited, she even shouts that Gree is a demon. Yoru is shocked to realize her friend already knows the truth. Her friend continues talking, saying that Gree is a demon. Yoru feels hopeless. She never wanted her friend to find out, Checking social media, Yoru discovers that Okaruto from the group is actually an occult influencer, someone who would do anything to spread information about demons and magic. Thinking back, Yoru remembers her brother warning her that no one else should ever know. But now, Okaruto is confronting her directly. Excited, Okaruto keeps saying that Gree has a demonic beauty, and Yoru wonders what she really means by that. Then Okaruto smiles and says she doesn't mind knowing the truth. After all, they're close friends. She grabs Yoru's shoulders and says that since she knows everything now, Yoru should have told her earlier. Then she asks if Yoru is living with Gree. Yoru freezes, realizing that her friend has figured everything out. Okaruto suddenly speaks in a darker tone, saying that she's already been to Yoru's house once. She explains that the day before, while following Gree, she saw the demon girl enter Yoru's home. Finally, Okaruto says she wants to ask for a favor. She wants Yoru's help to go to the beach with Gree, and with her passive-aggressive tone, Yoru has no real choice but to agree. Soon all the demon girls are forced to join the beach trip with the overexcited Okaruto. Some of them are happy about it, though, since they could use a break and have some fun. Yoru tells Yuta that she couldn't say no to Okaruto, even though she doesn't understand why she picked that specific outing. Yuta apologizes for bringing everyone along, but Okaruto reassures him that it's fine. The private beach belongs to her family's summer home. Okaruto is surprised by how many girls there are. Yoru explains that all of them live at her house. She says she tried inviting just Gree, but it wasn't possible. Whispering to her brother, Yoru reminds him they must not let Okaruto find out that the others are also demons, or that Gree is dating him. Kanzaki walks up and asks if it's okay for her to stay with them. Yoru quickly hugs her and thanks her because she and her brother wouldn't be able to manage everyone alone. Yuta turns red when he notices Kanzaki's swimsuit and apologizes for bringing her along. Okaruto, suspicious, asks who Kanzaki is since she feels a different aura from the rest. Thinking fast, Yoru blurts out that Kanzaki is her brother's girlfriend. Both of them are shocked and embarrassed. Yuta lunges toward Yoru to stop her, but Kanzaki doesn't seem to mind. Smiling softly, she says she's never had a boyfriend before, and even if it's fake, just saying it makes her heart race. Yuta can't believe she actually said that. Then one of the demon girls suddenly jumps on him, calling him to come play. Blushing, Yuta reminds them that they're supposed to act normal and not reveal anything. Lars asks if Kanzaki is really his girlfriend. Frustrated, Yuta explains the situation again. He wonders aloud if it's even allowed under the contract. Lars tells him that even if he likes Kanzaki, it doesn't mean she's truly his destined love. Yuta doesn't like that answer, but lets it go as they walk toward the others. Deep down, he realizes he's never really thought about what being in a relationship with Kanzaki would mean. He doesn't know that she's secretly happy just to be called his girlfriend, even if it's pretend. As Yuta reflects, another demon girl grabs his arm and drags him toward the sand, laughing. Okaruto finally finds Gree and invites her to have tea together. Gree smiles mischievously and agrees, curious to see what the girl is planning. Compared to a demon's desires, human obsession is much more unpredictable. Lust suddenly appears and asks Yuta what he thinks of her swimsuit. He admits it's revealing but says it suits her. Wrath demands attention too, asking for a compliment about her own bikini. Getting jealous, she pulls at her top strap, showing off even more. The other demon girls freeze in embarrassment as Wrath keeps flaunting herself. Then, piece by piece, the other girls' bikinis start to come undone too, both tops and bottoms. Lars calls for help and asks Yuta to tie hers, turning her back toward him. Red-faced, he tells her to do it herself. Meanwhile, Levi gets scolded by Rubia, who realizes Levi's reckless magic caused all the wardrobe chaos. Yuta sighs in relief as the situation settles down. Levi insists it was just a prank. Gree covers Okaruto's eyes, pretending to protect her from the blowing sand, while also tying Belle's bikini top back in place. Kanzaki, watching all this, thinks to herself how hard it is to look after so many demons. The group eventually calms down and starts having fun, playing beach volleyball and swimming. Yuta finally sits under an umbrella, hoping to rest for a moment. He wonders where Gree and Okaruto have gone. Without him noticing, Kanzaki approaches and shyly asks if she can sit beside him. She says it's been a long time since she last went to the beach. Yuta just nods awkwardly, unsure what to say. As they sit quietly, someone sleeps on the towel behind them. Kanzaki breaks the silence, saying that when she first learned about the contract and the demons, she was really worried about him. But now that she's seen how things turned out, it looks like everyone's having fun. Smiling softly, she says that being his girlfriend, even if it's fake, makes every day feel a little better. Yuta looks at her with emotion, while the demon girls secretly watch from afar. Lars even stops playing to stare curiously at the two. Inside the beach house, Gree and Okaruto sit on the couch. Gree wastes no time, asking if this meeting was really just to talk about love. Yoru lingers by the doorway, trying to listen in secretly. Okaruto says that, while that's part of it, there's something much more important to discuss. She explains that when she was in Gree's room, she secretly took the grimoire. Out of curiosity, she peeked inside, and what she found left her shocked. She saw the same symbol that marks Gree's body. With a dramatic pause, Okaruto declares that Gree's beauty, and that mark convinced her of something. Then she looks straight at Gree and asks the question she's been dying to confirm. Are you and the others really demons? Without any mystery, Gree calmly says that Okaruto has finally figured it out. Outside the door, Yoru is shocked as she hears her friend promise to keep pretending she knows nothing. Looking out the window, Okaruto says she just needed to confirm that she was right. Gree asks, "So what now? Are you planning to expose us to the world?" Okaruto shakes her head. "No, I just have one request." She moves closer and looks straight into Gree's eyes. "Become my lover." Placing her hands gently on Gree's body, she practically begs to become her mistress. Okaruto explains that she's always been fascinated by demons and recognized the mark on Gree's body right away. To her, it's fate. When she followed Gree and saw her enter Yoru's house, then discovered others with the same mark, everything became clear. Okaruto concludes that either Yoru or her brother must have formed a pact and lured them all here. Okaruto says she intends to uncover the full truth. She explains that people who sign a demon contract also bear the same mark on their body. Confidently, she adds that she's seen the one on Gree's lower back, too. Impressed, Gree admits that Okaruto has figured out almost everything. Continuing, Okaruto asks if she's right in assuming that Gree is in a contract with Yuta. Meanwhile, back on the beach, the demon girls are teasing Yuta playfully. Lust kneels in front of him, holding a sunscreen bottle squeezed between her chest, and asks for help applying it. "The sun's burning," Yuta says nervously. "Why do I have to do it?" Lust smiles and says she read in a manga that when a lover applies sunscreen to their partner, it makes them closer. Shocked, Yuta blurts out, "What kind of manga are you even reading?" He suggests Rubia do it instead. But Rubia, the demon of pride, gets offended. "You should be begging to apply sunscreen for us," she snaps, handing him her own bottle. Yuta panics because Kanzaki is right there beside him watching, but he can't refuse. Kanzaki watches quietly, wondering if she should ask him to apply it for her too, since they're pretending to date. But she hesitates, afraid he might reject her. Seeing her uncomfortable, Yuta sighs and decides to just get it over with. He starts applying sunscreen to the girls, awkwardly trying to avoid any sensitive area. Rubia smiles to herself, secretly enjoying his touch. At the same time, Yuta applies lotion to Lust's back. Both demons giggle at how tense and flustered he is. "I've never done this before," he mutters. "Not even for myself." Lust adjusts her bikini and checks how much lotion he's spread. Blushing, she says she doesn't want to get burned and lowers the bottom of her swimsuit. Yuta turns away in panic, but Lust teases, saying it won't work unless she unties it. Rubia suddenly steps in, demanding attention. "Use the lotion already," she says, exposing a bit of skin. "Make sure my perfect body doesn't burn." Trying not to touch too much, Yuta carefully rubs the lotion along her side. His gentle movements make Rubia's heart race, but then she accuses him of touching her inappropriately. Flustered, he defends himself, saying he wasn't doing anything wrong. Kanzaki overhears the commotion and looks over, confused. Elsewhere on the sand, Lars and Levi are sitting together talking about love contracts. Wrath asks why humans die after forming a love pact with another human. Levi explains, "My mother told me that long ago a high-ranking demoness made a love contract with a man. Back then, if the human fell in love with someone else, the contract just ended. But that man betrayed her for another woman. Consumed by jealousy, the demoness rewrote the terms of the contract, making it deadly. Since then, all love contracts have carried that curse." Lars listens in awe. "So demons can actually change contracts like that?" Levi nods. "Yes, but it takes an enormous amount of magic." Wrath grows thoughtful, but says she understands. That night, inside the beach house, Yuta walks down the stairs, wondering if it's really okay to enjoy this luxurious life so much. From a distance, he sees Oka, and wonders if she and Gree have already made up. But when the girl turns around, he realizes it's actually Belle, the demon of gluttony, licking a popsicle that was served as dessert. Yuta chuckles and says he should thank whoever made them later. Belle grins and offers him a lick. "Come on, try it. It's really good." Yuta steps back. "No way. That'd be like kissing you indirectly." Belle tilts her head, confused. Yuta explains, "If I lick where you just did, it's like our lips touched." Belle smirks, drools on the popsicle even more, and then suddenly shoves it into Yuta's mouth before walking away. Just then, Gree appears and teases him about the scene. Seeing her, Yuta brightens up. He was looking for her to ask for advice. "Oh, you actually came to me for help?" She laughs. "That's rare." But her tone shifts. Grabbing his shirt, she says seriously, "Okay knows everything." Yuta freezes. "What? How?" "She asked to become my lover," Gree adds calmly. That's too much for Yuta to process. "Wait, what? Can you start from the beginning?" Gree crosses her arms and sighs. "I like humans. Young, old, male, female. It doesn't matter. I'm fine with all of them. I'm telling you this because we're partners." Still confused, Yuta asks what he's supposed to do about it. With a teasing smile, Gree tells him, "You decide how I should respond to her confession. Show me your cool side." Grabbing the half-melted popsicle, she walks away. From across the house, everyone hears Yuta yell, "Hey, give me back my dessert." Alone again, he flops down on the couch, thinking hard. Now that Oka knows everything, she might expose them if things go wrong. He can't believe how much trouble he's gotten in. As night falls over the beach, Yuta sighs and mutters, "How did my life end?" The girls are relaxing in the hot spring, talking about how amazing their day at the beach was, the games, the food, and all the fun they had. While bathing together, Kanzaki thinks about how strange yet wonderful it feels to be surrounded by these 7 demon girls. Scheming, one of the demonesses, mentions that the men's bath is right next to theirs. Innocently, Kanzaki says she saw Yuta go in there a little while ago. Lars immediately stands up and the others ask what she's planning. Gree smirks, saying Yuta's not the type to make the first move. Lars laughs and says that in that case, she'll take the lead, suggesting they should all go and join him. Kanzaki is shocked by the idea, but Levi agrees right away. Under the moonlight and in the calm night air, Yuta relaxes in the hot spring, enjoying a rare moment of peace. But then he hears faint whispering outside. Before he can react, all the demon girls appear, just as they came into the world, and jump into the bath with him. Pressed tightly between their bodies, Yuta feels like he's being crushed by their chests. His face brushes against their thighs and he can barely breathe. Everyone's squeezed together, trying to fit in the small space. Struggling for air, Yuta panics, thinking he needs to escape fast. As he's being smothered, he suddenly notices that one of the girls doesn't have a mark on her chest. Then he realizes it's Kanzaki. Their eyes meet, and she instantly turns red with embarrassment. Yuta freezes, just as flustered. He shouts loudly, asking why she's even part of this mess. Later, back in his room, Yuta feels like he's going to die from shame. He had gathered all the demons earlier to tell them he absolutely didn't want Kanzaki involved in their ridiculous games. He remembers how she left feeling awkward before he could apologize. Trying to calm down, he decides it's too late to fix it now. He'll apologize in the morning. Just as he's closing his eyes, there's a knock at the door. Annoyed, he gets up and opens it, only to find Lars standing there in her pajamas. He asks what she's doing so late at night. Lars slowly unbuttons her top, saying she wants to show him something. Yuta panics, squeezing his eyes shut. She opens her nightgown completely, revealing that she's wearing the outfit he once bought for her. Stunned, Yuta tells her she should wear it more often. Blushing, Lars smiles and says it was the first gift he ever gave her, something she treasures deeply. Yuta turns bright red, not sure what to say. The two stand in silence for a moment. Then Lars slowly walks toward him, calling him her darling. Losing patience, she asks why he always runs away from her. Yuta blurts out that it's because she's always half naked. Without warning, Lars pushes him onto the bed and pins him down, leaning over him. With her face close to his, she grins and says this is the first time she's gotten the upper hand. Gently stroking his face, she recalls the day they met, how he protected her from the thugs. She says when he shouted, "Don't lay a finger on my girlfriend," it felt like something straight out of a drama. Her hair falls over his chest as she confesses that, from that moment on, she's loved him with all her heart. Yuta can barely breathe as she leans close, then suddenly stands up. Buttoning her pajamas, she says she only wanted to confess her feelings, then wishes him goodnight and leaves. But someone sees her closing the door. Kanzaki. Surprised, Lars awkwardly wishes her sweet dreams and walks away, pretending nothing happened. Kanzaki, of course, jumps to conclusions about what was going on in Yuta's room at that hour. Inside, Yuta sits on the bed, unaware that his crush saw everything. He remembers how he once protected the demons, but now he only feels like a liar. Gree's earlier words echo in his mind, and he realizes what he has to do. The next morning, out on the veranda, Oka meets with him and Gree. Yuta says he's thought it through. It's time for an honest conversation. He explains that as a contract lover, his first duty is to protect his partner. Then he admits the truth. He, Gree, and the others are bound by love contracts. Bowing respectfully, he apologizes for lying, saying he only wanted to keep everyone safe. He asks Oka to keep the demons secret. Behind the curtain, Kanzaki overhears everything quietly. In her room, Yoru prays things go well now that he's confessed. Oka says she already suspected the truth. The girl's behavior made it obvious, but she adds with some disappointment that Gree can be honest while she can't. She claims that since she has no magical powers, she can't compete for Yuta's affection. Both Yuta and Gree are confused by that statement. Oka insists Yuta must have strong magical powers. After all, how else could someone like him be surrounded by 7 demon girls? She admits she was prepared for how difficult it would be, but she never imagined she'd have to gain magic just to be worthy of Gree. Clinging to Gree, she begs her to wait. She swears she'll do whatever it takes to get enough magic to propose her own love contract. Gree smiles and agrees, but asks for one favor: to keep their true identities secret. Blushing, Oka says Gree's wish is her command, shouting that even if Gree belongs to someone else, she'll never give up. Kanzaki watches, speechless and furious. Later, Gree and Yuta walk away. Yuta sighs, thinking Oka didn't believe anything he said. She'll always trust Gree over him. Still, the demoness knows she made the right choice letting Yuta handle it. Pulling him close, she tells him he did a great job. Oka's words about never giving up echo in Kanzaki's mind as the day ends. Leaving the beach, the girls are cheerful after such a long, wonderful day. While walking, Kanzaki hears Yuta calling her name. He rushes over, apologizing for what happened in the hot spring. Bowing, he says he's sorry for seeing her like that, and that he's told the demons to behave better. Kanzaki smiles and says they already apologized to her, so it's okay now. Finally, she admits that it really was embarrassing to be seen like that, and Yuta keeps apologizing. But with a small laugh, she tells him she knows he didn't peek on purpose or mean any harm. Once again, he feels drawn in by her kindness as she thanks him sweetly for the invitation. Deep down, Yuta is relieved that his crush doesn't hate him after all. Shyly, she admits that pretending to be his girlfriend was actually a lot of fun. Before Yuta can respond, the demon girls jump on him and tell him to hurry up. With Levi clinging to his shoulder, he waves a quick goodbye to his friend.
Hey guys, sorry for mid-editing, but I noticed a lot of you are watching my videos without subscribing. Our subscribe ratio is literally close to 0. I'd really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button. It helps a lot. Thanks. Now, back to the recap.
The next day at home, Yuru rushes in holding her tablet in panic. She shows Yuta a video of Oka starting a 100-day challenge to gain magical powers. Worried, Yuta realizes he has to clear up this misunderstanding fast. He and his sister notice that the demon girls still haven't come downstairs. Suddenly, Lars bursts into their room saying she wants to talk. The others look at her lazily. Gree asks why she's being so serious. Lars announces she wants to have a proper meeting. She says the demonesses need to show their love for their darling more openly. The others look confused by all this talk about love. Wrath explains that she heard old stories about love contracts between demons and humans. Even if times have changed, they can't let their guard down. They need to show their devotion clearly. The demon of sloth just yawns, uninterested. But Lars insists they need to be more romantic than ever, and not let any human girl distract him. Rubia glares at Levi suspiciously and asks what old story she told Lars. Levi explains that it's about a demoness who was abandoned by her human when he fell for another woman. The others aren't sure if that's even true, but Levi insists it's something her mother told her. Gree says it actually makes sense. Humans fall in love easily. Feeling cornered, Lars agrees. She says no matter how cute they are, there's always that barrier between races. Gree nods, saying it's a good point, and adds that Yuta has never dated anyone. She thinks maybe no one has noticed his charm yet. Another demon girl jokes that there might already be a human girl who likes him. One of them gets insanely jealous, and Gree quickly says it was just a theory. Wrapping up the meeting, Lars emphasizes that they should all work together, no matter what. Annoyed, Rubia asks why she should even bother. Gree gets excited by the chaos, Slow stays asleep, and Belle quietly reflects on what was said, then suddenly seems to get an idea. Later that day, Belle, the demoness of gluttony, is surprised when Kanzaki appears with her face covered in makeup. She looks like a clown. Kanzaki says she was practicing after watching tutorials from a magazine. Being friendly, she adds that she reads fashion magazines all the time. Embarrassed, Belle admits she's terrible with girly stuff like that. Comparing herself to the others, she says her body isn't as curvy, and that's why she wants to improve. Looking in the mirror, she says she wants to become a more attractive woman. Kanzaki feels bad for her. Belle asks how she can become more charming. Shocked, Kanzaki tells her she's already too cute to be saying things like that. She explains that, even without trying, Belle is naturally beautiful. Belle blushes at the compliment. Kanzaki says she really likes Belle just the way she is. Belle suddenly grows shy. Kanzaki wonders why she's being so insecure and asks if Yuta said something. But Belle explains it was Wrath who told them to show their love for him more clearly. Not wanting to fall behind the others, Belle says she wants to try harder. Kanzaki wonders what kind of love Wrath even meant. As she gets up to leave, Belle thanks her sincerely, saying she feels more confident now. Embarrassed, Kanzaki can barely handle how adorable Belle looks. A delivery then arrives from the demon world, and Levi gets excited. It's a small jar of aphrodisiac chocolate. Her plan is to send the other girls to the candy store so she can be alone with Yuta. If he eats one, he'll start feeling differently. But Lust suddenly shows up, saying she decided not to go because she knew Levi was planning something. Levi quickly hides the jar and insists she didn't do anything wrong. But Lust is too clever. She drags Levi off with her angel wings, saying there's no way she'll leave the two of them alone. Neither of them notices that they left the chocolate jar on the table. Later, Belle comes home and realizes no one's there. She refuses to believe the others went out to eat something delicious without her. Then she spots the jar of aphrodisiac chocolates. Her eyes widen. She recognizes them instantly. It's been ages since she's had one. Convincing herself it's fine, she decides to eat just one. Hours later, Yuta arrives home. Seeing the kitchen empty, he notices the jar, completely empty. When he goes to his room, he finds Belle sitting on his bed. Surprised, he asks what she's doing there and where the others are, but she doesn't answer. He steps closer, concerned, asking if she's okay. Belle grips her dress tightly, her face flushed. Then, without warning, she removes it. Yuta freezes, panicking and turning away. Remembering what happened with Lust, he wonders if Belle is losing control too. Peeking through his fingers, he notices her body mark is still there. It hasn't disappeared. Confused, he has no idea what's happening. Belle grabs his hands and places them on her shoulders, whispering that she wants him to have her. Yuta quickly pulls away, asking what's wrong. Without thinking, Belle grabs his hands again. Flustered and overwhelmed, Yuta stammers, completely frozen in place. Disappointed, Belle asks if Yuta doesn't want to eat. Trembling, he's not sure what she means by that. She's never acted like this before, and it makes him suspicious. Adjusting himself on the bed, he asks what happened to her. When she stays quiet, he finally shouts, demanding to know what's wrong. Calmly, Belle admits it was the chocolates. She explains that she was probably affected by the magic inside the demon sweets. Curling up on the bed, she says that after eating them all, she started to feel hot and out of control. It suddenly all makes sense to Yuta. That's why her behavior changed so drastically. Regaining her senses, Belle shyly asks if Yuta prefers bold girls like that. He's completely caught off guard by the question. Feeling rejected, she assumes it's because her chest and curves aren't as big as the others. But Yuta immediately corrects her. He says that's not it at all. He was just worried about her. Surprised by his sincerity, Belle asks if she should see a doctor, but Yuta shakes his head. He tells her he'd never judge her based on her looks and reminds her that the usual Belle, the cheerful, food-loving one, is the best version of her. Her eyes sparkle at his kind words. She blushes and says he just said the same thing Kanzaki did earlier. Curious, Yuta realizes that Belle must have spent time with Kanzaki before. As the effects of the chocolate finally wear off, Yuta gently scolds her for not telling him about eating them sooner. Belle smiles softly and wraps her arms around him in a warm hug. Holding him close, she says she wants to try this, to really be a couple, because that's how she truly feels. It's her genuine heart speaking now, not the magic. Reflecting on her words, Yuta realizes Belle's feelings for him are real. Before he can respond, Lust bursts into the room, announcing her return. Seeing Belle, she rushes over, demanding to know what happened. Just then, Slow appears in the doorway, half-dressed and yawning. Yuta nearly jumps out of his skin when he realizes she was home the whole time. Casually, Slow explains she'd just been sleeping in the next room. That only makes Yuta more embarrassed. He wonders if she heard everything that happened. Belle whispers in his ear, begging him to keep what happened a secret. But before he can answer, Yoru suddenly walks in, asking what secret they're talking about. Slow stares suspiciously, making Yuta sweat even more. Just then, Yuta's phone rings. It's his friend Takahashi, inviting him to the summer festival. Yuta explains he planned to go with his sister, and Takahashi jokes that at least he won't be going with a girlfriend. Quietly, Yuta apologizes to his friend in his mind, because this year he'll definitely have company. Moments later, Lars appears, proudly announcing that her outfit for the festival is ready. Belle excitedly joins the conversation, talking about all the food she wants to try. The other girls chatter about how fun it'll be. Lust mentions she's made a yukata for Gree, who says she can't wait to wear it. In the middle of the excitement, Belle suddenly informs everyone that Noka won't be coming because she has to work. Yuta feels a little disappointed hearing that. Lars immediately notices his reaction and looks annoyed, but Yuta insists it's not a big deal. Amid the chatter, Slow yawns again, making everyone question whether she'll even show up. Lars tells Yuta to hurry so they can head out soon. As he leaves the room, he keeps wondering if Slow really heard what happened earlier. She hasn't said anything, and that silence makes him uneasy. Then a strange thought hits him. Maybe Slow is so lazy she doesn't even care. Before he can dwell on it, Lars grabs his shirt, dragging him off to get ready. Sometime later, Lust calls out, letting Yuta know that all the girls are ready. When he turns around, he's stunned. They're all wearing colorful yukatas. Gree, Lust, and Belle each twirl, asking what he thinks. Yuta is speechless. Before he can even compliment them, he asks about Slow. Lars says the demon of sloth is still in her room. Yuta tells the others to go ahead while he waits for her. Lars looks disappointed. She wanted to play one of the festival games with him, but she agrees and heads off with the group. Yuta walks to Slow's door and knocks, but there's no response. He tells her the festival only happens once a year, so she should come enjoy it. Then he hears her softly mumbling the names of her demon sisters. A moment later, Slow asks if he wants to go to the festival with her. Surprised that she was awake, he replies that he'd really like that. Suddenly, the door opens. Slow stands there, wearing a beautiful floral yukata. "Let's go," she says with an uncharacteristic spark in her eyes. "We'll be late." Her sudden energy leaves Yuta completely confused. At the festival entrance, Slow grabs Yuta's arm, walking close beside him. He feels his face grow warm. Is this really a date? Just then his phone buzzes. It's a message from Yoru, saying the fireworks are about to start and the girls are looking for him. Before he can reply, Slow snatches the phone and slips it into her yukata, right into her cleavage. "Wait, I need to tell them where we are," he protests, but Slow simply presses a finger to his lips. "Shh," she says softly. "Let's just enjoy the evening. Just us." Her calm, teasing tone leaves Yuta completely flustered. They walk through the glowing lanterns hand in hand. When Slow asks about the sweet spells he mentioned earlier, Yuta offers to buy some for her. She smiles gently as he hurries off toward the candy stand. While waiting, Yuta wonders if being alone with just one of the girls could cause trouble later. Still, he grabs a candy apple and turns back, excited to share it. But when he reaches her, he sees two guys bothering Slow. He rushes over immediately. Seeing him, Slow politely tells the strangers that she's there with her boyfriend. The two guys recognize Yuta and quickly back off, muttering about how he always seems to have another beautiful girlfriend. Once they're alone again, Slow looks up at him and asks what that was all about. Yuta explains that the last time he met those two, he was with Lars, which makes things a bit awkward. As they look around the stalls, Yuta notices the two troublemakers still lurking. He apologizes for dragging her into that mess, but Slow doesn't seem upset. Instead, she quietly pulls him closer so they can stay hidden in the crowd. They end up pressed close together, and Yuta's heart starts pounding. Her calm but assertive closeness makes his chest feel tight, and he can't tell if it's nervousness or something else entirely. Fireworks light up the night sky, bursting in bright colors. The group of demon sisters watches the show in awe. Even with all the excitement, Lars looks worried about Yuta's absence. Yura mentions that he still hasn't replied to her message. Elsewhere at the festival, Yuta is still apologizing to Slow for hiding earlier. Smiling softly, Slow tells him they can still see the fireworks from where they are. She adds that just spending this quiet moment alone with him already makes her happy. Her gentle words catch Yuta off guard. Slow steps closer, then suddenly kneels in front of him. She touches his pants, without warning, leaving him completely flustered. Moving closer still, she confesses that she can't hold back her feelings anymore. Yuta freezes, unsure how to react. Before he can say anything, Slow murmurs that she's very sleepy. Seeing her exhaustion, he crouches down and offers to carry her on his back. As he walks, Yuta wonders if she overdid it by coming to the festival. He apologizes, worried he might have pushed her too hard to join them. Half asleep, Slow mumbles that she also wanted to come, especially after seeing how Belle had been trying so hard to get closer to him. She admits she wanted to make an effort too. Though dressing up isn't something she's used to, she wanted to try for his sake. Yuta then realizes she really did hear about what happened between him and Belle. Because of that, she tried to step out of her comfort zone. He apologizes again and explains that since she's the demon of sloth and rarely asks about Belle, he started thinking strange things, like maybe she wasn't interested in him anymore. He says he'll set her down once they reach home. Slow smiles faintly and says she likes how honest he is. Then, leaning close, she gives him a soft kiss on the ear. Shocked and red-faced, Yuta yells out, losing his balance and falling to the ground with her. "What was that?" he asks in disbelief. Slow calmly replies that his ears are sensitive, but then Yuta notices something else. She's sitting on the ground in an awkward pose, and he suddenly realizes she's completely naked beneath her yukata. "I forgot to put on underwear before leaving," Slow says matter-of-factly. Besides, it's not really necessary with a kimono. Meanwhile, the rest of the demon sisters continue enjoying the festival with Yoru. They laugh together, admiring the fireworks and the night sky. Yoru hands a book to Prez and explains to Gree that it's the same one she used to summon the girls into the human world. She adds that since it's already been used once, the new owner won't be able to cause any trouble with it. Even though Prez gets excited about trying a summoning, Yoru reassures her that the book is harmless. Later, everyone returns home. Lars immediately asks why Yuta didn't show up at the event, while Belle excitedly talks about all the sweets she bought. In the corner, Slow takes a deep breath. She seems different, distant. Gree asks if something's wrong, but Slow insists she's fine. Still, she places a hand over her body and quietly wonders what's happening to her. Night falls again. The sisters gather in their room, all fighting playfully for the attention of their mother, Lena. Rubia raises her voice, telling them to behave and stop clinging to their mom. Lars tries to argue, but Rubia, the demon of pride, shuts her down. Lena gently tells Rubia not to be so strict. She reminds her that it's okay to want affection, even as adults. Calling her daughter over, Lena has Rubia sit beside her and hugs her softly. Smiling, she says Rubia always struggles to be honest about her feelings. Morning comes once more. In her bed at Yuta's house, Rubia wakes up feeling disoriented. She wonders why she dreamed about her mother. Feeling strange, she gets up and heads downstairs. Lars, Belle, and Levi are chatting in the living room about how much fun they had at the festival. Near the door, Yuta sees his sister and Gree getting ready to leave. He asks where they're going. Yoru explains that Prez invited them to a tea party, and Gree teases that it might turn into something more, which makes Yuta nervous. Gree laughs and says she was only joking before the two head out. Yuta sighs, hoping nothing unusual happens during their visit. At that moment, Rubia suddenly appears behind him. Startled, Yuta asks how she got there so quietly. The blonde demon seems uneasy, so he asks if she's feeling okay. Looking away toward the bedroom, she admits she's not feeling well. When Yuta steps closer to check on her, he accidentally brushes against her. Mortified, he apologizes immediately, but Rubia doesn't even react. She still looks distant and pale. Concerned, Yuta calls out to her again. Lust soon walks in and asks what's happening. Yuta explains that Rubia seems sick and wonders if demons can catch colds. Lust shakes her head, saying demons don't get human illnesses. Instead, she explains that Rubia's power is weakening. Alarmed, Yuta asks if it's serious. Lust assures him it's not too bad. It even happened to her once. She explains that their mother, Lena, must be borrowing Rubia's magic, since all seven sisters' powers originally came from Lena. Whenever their mother needs energy, she has to draw it from one of them. Even so, Yuta can't hide his worry. Lust notes that Rubia, being the proud one, isn't handling the drain very well. Meanwhile, Rubia quietly wonders what their mother could be doing that needs her power. Seeing the tension, Lars decides to try contacting their mother, though she warns Yuta that it may take some time. Until then, she asks him to look after Rubia. Yuta gently brings Rubia to her room. There, she sits on the bed, muttering about what their mother might be doing with her strength. Yuta assumes she doesn't realize Lena is hurting her by borrowing it. Rubia suddenly asks how long he plans to stay. Looking annoyed, she tells him to leave her alone. Yuta protests, saying Lars asked him to take care of her. But Rubia snaps, shouting that she wants to be alone. Nervously, Yuta insists he doesn't mind if she leans on him, at least while she's unwell. His words make her pause, her expression softening slightly. He keeps talking, saying even Yoru relies on him when she's sick. Rubia doesn't respond, so Yuta decides to give her space. As he leaves, he notices she still looks serious and distant. He thinks about how cold she can seem, even when vulnerable, and recalls Lars saying that's just how Rubia is. She never shows affection easily. A while later, still worried, Yuta returns to check on her. To help her rest, he brings a cold towel and a drink. But when he opens the door fully, he freezes in shock. Rubia is standing there, completely naked. Flustered, Yuta puts the towel and drink on the nightstand and quickly heads for the door. But Rubia grabs the back of his shirt, stopping him. She says she feels uncomfortable from sweating, which is why she was undressed, and asks him to wipe her body with the wet towel. Embarrassed, Yuta freezes. Rubia reminds him that he was the one who told her to rely on him. Trying to calm himself, Yuta walks back, grabs the towel, and begins wiping her skin. His hands tremble. He's never been alone in a room with her like this before. As he wipes, Rubia starts making soft, strange sounds. Yuta wonders why she's reacting that way, but keeps going, wanting to prove she can count on him. Suddenly, Rubia snatches the towel from his hands. Annoyed, she says her underarms are still sweaty. Blushing, Yuta takes the towel back and continues. His eyes wander for a moment before he catches himself, flustered. Rubia notices and asks calmly, "Do you like girls who act weak or vulnerable?" The question shocks him. She continues, saying that he asked her to trust him, and her sisters are much better at getting care and attention from others. Yuta quickly defends himself, saying he didn't mean he likes needy girls. He just wanted her to trust him, because he admires her proud and independent nature. Rubia's expression hardens, and she tells him to leave her alone. Confused, Yuta tries to explain himself again. He admits he was actually happy that she trusted him, even for a short moment, when she wasn't feeling well. He apologizes softly and starts walking toward the door. Before closing it, he says, "I want you to know you can rely on me. After all, we have a love contract." Rubia calls out to him, "Wait, there are still a few spots you missed." She points to her head. At first, Yuta doesn't understand, but then realizes she wants affection. Awkwardly, he pats her head. When Rubia smiles, he panics and asks if he did something wrong. She just smiles again and says, "Since you insist, I'll rely on you more often." On the way to Press's house, Yoru tells Gree something's been bothering her. She says she drew a tarot card earlier, the same one she drew the day she summoned the demon sister. Gree interrupts, noticing a strange light coming from Press's house. They call out for Yukio, who excitedly says she managed to summon a demon too. Yoru is shocked, but Gree admits she already suspected it. Yukio says she'll explain everything later and hurries off. Back at Yuta's house, Rubia, still unclothed, tells him her magic power is returned. Excited, Yuta asks if Lust and Yoru have found her mother yet. Rubia looks thoughtful and asks him to step outside so she can change. She quietly admits she wants to thank him but doesn't know how. Yuta says goodbye and starts heading downstairs. But before he can leave, a tall, elegant woman suddenly appears in front of Rubia. She gently holds Rubia's face and looks deeply into her eye. Yuta freezes and asks who she is. The woman smiles and says, "I'm their mother. You can call me Mommy." Shocked, Yuta runs to tell Lust what happened. He says she looks nothing like he imagined. Lust laughs and explains that their mother, Lena, has always been fascinated by human culture. After raising 7 daughters, she decided to finally live the way she wanted, and that's why she looks like that now. A moment later, Gree walks in and is stunned to see her mother. The sisters quickly piece it together. Yukio must have summoned her by mistake. Gree explains that the book she gave Yukio contains their mother's summoning circle. Since Yukio wanted to summon someone, and Lena wanted to be summoned, it happened naturally. Still, no one knows why Lena came. Yuta thinks maybe she just missed her daughters after being apart for so long. Suddenly, someone pulls on Yuta's sleeve. It's Levi. She whispers that she needs to talk to him privately. When they step aside, she says there's something her sisters don't know. Long ago, their mother told her that if a demon under a love contract falls in love with another human, she can die. The news shocks Yuta. Levi explains that Lena told her this years ago because it happened to her. She once loved a human who abandoned her. Because it was such a painful story, their mother only confided in Levi. And as the demon of envy, Levi is especially sensitive to emotions like betrayal and jealousy. Levi believes their mother came back to stop Yuta's relationship with her daughters. Horrified, Yuta asks what he should do. Levi smiles and says not to worry. She already has a plan. Her plan is simple: distract their mother. She takes Lena to a luxurious pool, saying it's something she's always wanted to experience. Lena's eyes light up. She says she's always wanted to visit a human pool at night. Gree thanks Yukio for reserving it, and Yukio proudly says she would have booked the whole hotel if that's what it took. Later, Yuta shows up in a swimsuit picked by Levi. Embarrassed, he complains that it's too flashy. Yoru laughs and asks what happened. Levi appears, teasing that the outfit suits him perfectly. It's the kind of style their mother liked. At the pool, Lars, Rubia, and Belle all look surprised by Yuta's appearance. Lust chuckles and says he looks great. Then Lena steps out of the pool and says she's thirsty. Levi tells Yuta to take her a drink. Nervous, Yuta trembles as he walks toward her. She isn't just his mother-in-law, she's also the most powerful demon in existence. She once held the full power she later divided among her 7 daughters. Even without that power, she could still rewrite any love contract if she wanted. Panicking, Yuta can barely move. Levi shouts for him to hurry. He takes a deep breath and steps forward. But just as he's about to reach Lena, he trips. The tray tilts, and juice spills all over her. Lena gasps, wiping her face, and Yuta frantically apologizes. Levi runs toward them, but slips on the wet floor, crashing down on top of both of them. Gree and Yukio, who were watching the stars nearby, look over in shock. Levi groans, apologizing again, but Lena snaps, "Get off me this instant!" The absurd scene leaves everyone speechless, and Yuta's heart racing from the chaos. Caught between them, Yuta freezes, wondering if the demon of envy is doing this on purpose. Levi does love to pull pranks, after all, but before he can even ask, she clings tighter. Embarrassed, Yuta quickly stands up with Levi still on his back and blurts that he'll grab a towel. He hurries off, leaving Lena completely baffled by what just happened. Once they're out of sight, Yuta turns to Levi and asks why she did that. The demon girl sighs and admits she lied earlier. She never actually had a good plan. It wasn't a prank. She just wanted to show her mother how great he was. But instead it all went wrong. Now, if Lena ends up disliking him, it'll be her fault. And she doesn't want that. Because, as she says with a trembling voice, her feelings for him are real. Seeing her guilt, Yuta softens. He apologizes for doubting her and realizes Livy truly does care for him. It makes him wonder, do the others feel the same way? Just then, Lena walks in, holding a towel, only to find Yuta and Levi hugging. Yuta panics, pulling away instantly. Flustered, he apologizes and tries to explain. Lena smiles calmly and tells them it's fine. She invites them to join her in the jacuzzi so they can have a relaxing talk and connect, something she heard humans often do. Yuta freezes again when he realizes what she means. Lena casually steps into the small bath area and suggests they bathe as they came into the world, without clothes. Yuta's eyes nearly pop out. Covering his face, he stammers, asking why she's completely nude. Lena laughs softly. She says she just wanted to take a proper bath, and since he already has contracts with her daughters, it's not like she sees this as improper. It's just an innocent talk, she adds, motioning for him to sit. Yuta feels like he's about to faint. His instincts scream at him to look anywhere but her body. Lena, amused, stretches her long legs in the water. In the process, one of her feet brushes between his legs, making Yuta freeze like a statue. He's sure she's teasing him. A test, maybe, but he knows he can't fall for it. With a sly smile, Lena asks, "You look like someone who was forced to sign that love contract." The comment hits hard. Yuta tenses up. She watches him intently, her eyes glowing faintly with demonic power. Suddenly, Lena leans closer, pressing against him. Yuta's breath catches. He can't even move. She whispers, "Don't look so nervous. I'm not here to hurt you." Then her tone darkens. Her tail sways behind her as she murmurs, "I could devour you right now, but I know you wouldn't betray my daughters." Holding his face gently, she adds, "Let me show you something. What the demon world really was before you met them." Before Yuta can respond, the world shifts around him. His vision fades, and suddenly he's standing somewhere else entirely. Lust, sensing something strange, turns to Levi outside. "Mother's aura. It's active," she says. Levi's expression hardens. What's she doing to him? Back inside the vision, Yuta finds himself floating above a vast, glowing city. Everything feels otherworldly, alive. He sees crowds of beings who look almost human but radiate power. Then he spots them, the 7 demon sisters, all together. They're completely different, radiant, confident, adored. Everywhere they go, people cheer. Rubia receives endless love contract offers. Gree gets compliments from strangers, and even Wrath shows off her strength. Yuta watches in awe as Wrath accidentally sets off a small explosion. But no one is harmed. Everyone just laughs it off, as if they were immortal. The sisters bask in the attention, but there's also a quiet boredom behind their smiles. He realizes he's seeing their lives before the human world, when they were worshipped, not loved. The girls talk among themselves. Lars dreams of finding someone affectionate and kind. Slow jokes that no soft-hearted man could protect Wrath. Levi laughs, saying she wants someone fun to tease. Gree says she'd like someone mysterious. Barus declares her partner must feed her constantly. Lust softly adds she just wants someone gentle. And Rubia, frustrated by all the daydreaming, insists she doesn't have a type at all. Then Levi says something that makes Yuta's heart tighten. If we ever find someone who fits everything we're all looking for, maybe we could just share him. The sisters laugh at the impossible idea, but Yuta suddenly realizes that's exactly what happened. He remembers how desperately he once wanted a girlfriend, and how he signed the contract half-jokingly, just to see what would happen. Now, after seeing this, he truly understands what the contract meant to them. A blinding flash erupts. Energy swirls. Yuta feels himself being pulled back. And then, he's back in the bathroom. Lena is now dressed, brushing her wet hair as if nothing happened. She asks softly, "Did you see it? The demon world as it was?" Still dazed, Yuta nods. He explains that he saw their past, their fame, their loneliness, their strength. He admits that seeing their true nature scared him, but also made him admire them even more. Lena smiles faintly. "You're honest. That's good." Taking a deep breath, Yuta says he genuinely loves spending time with her daughters. He understands her concerns about a human being involved with demons, but he promises, from the bottom of his heart, that he would never hurt them. Lena looks at him for a long moment. Then her expression softens. "I never planned to stop you," she says. "I just needed to know if your feelings were real." Her tail gently flicks behind her as she smiles. "You've proven they are. You're a good man, Yuta." He feels happy and reassured hearing that. Still cheerful, Lust's mother says she would never oppose their relationship. The only thing that bothers her a little, she says jokingly, is that she once intended to wipe out the human race. Looking up at the moon, she admits she can't interfere with her daughter's choices. Besides, Yuta isn't a traitor. Curious, Yuta asks what she would have done if he were a traitor. After a moment of thought, Lust's mother explains that she only wanted to show her daughter's boyfriend how powerful and amazing they are in the demon world, and maybe brag a little as a proud mother. Since demons rarely speak about their past, she decided to show him how things used to be. In disbelief, Yuta finally understands what she meant. She continues, saying that when he signed the love contract with all her daughters, she actually felt lucky and relieved, because she would have only objected if they couldn't find a decent man. But she had no such worry with him. Overjoyed, Yuta realizes that he truly has the approval of the girl's mother. Just then, Lust walks in, calling for her mom. She asks what her mother was doing using her powers on Yuta, but then freezes when she sees him there. Shocked, Lust blurts out, asking if her mom is also into Yuta, leaving him speechless. It's all just a misunderstanding, though. Lust's mother laughs and explains that they were simply having a friendly talk. Levi runs over and asks if Yuta's okay, worried that her mom might have done something to him. He smiles and says she only wanted to brag about her amazing daughters. Levi doesn't quite understand, but she hugs Yuta tightly, thankful he's fine. Smiling warmly, Lust's mother suggests everyone return to the party. They all head back to the pool, laughing together like one big family. Levi calls Yuta over to show off her oversized floaty. He can tell she's having a blast. With a mischievous grin, she looks at him, and before he can react, she tosses the float into the air and positions it so that Yuta's body ends up trapped inside the ring with hers. They bump against each other, making Yuta flustered. Feeling silly for not realizing what she was planning, he decides to just enjoy the moment. Levi sits at the pool's edge, smiling, saying she's thankful to be so close to Yuta, but wonders why she suddenly can't move. Meanwhile, Lust's mother calls Gree over for a private talk. She says she'll be spending some time at Yukio's house. Gree looks completely stunned. Lust's mother explains that she needs to be at a summoning site for a while, and besides, she wants to give Yuta and the girls more freedom. Gree sighs, already sensing she'll be the one handling money problems again. Watching Yuta and one of her sisters playing in the pool, Gree chuckles and mutters that things are about to get even more interesting. Later, Gree looks at a photo that seems to have been taken during the pool party. Upset, she realizes Agatsuna has really started acting like an adult now. Another girl comments that some women know exactly what they want. Looking at the photo again, Gree points out that the girl beside Yuta seems very close to him. Everything happened so suddenly. She admits she feels a little different now, realizing how quickly things are changing. Soon after, the girls and Yuta visit a clothing store. One of them asks Yuta what he thinks of her outfit, but he blushes and says that's not even an outfit. It looks more like a skimpy costume, before bolting out of the store. He's exhausted from keeping up with Gree, but it reminds him of when he met Rubia and how it felt to kiss that contract mark. He wonders if he'll have to go through that again, or if the love contract is something deeper, maybe even like marriage. Gree appears beside him and teasingly asks if he really didn't like the last outfit. She's now wearing another one she just bought on impulse. Yuta sighs and asks what happened to the other clothes. Gree says demons like them should try to adapt to human customs, even if it feels impossible sometimes. That comment catches Yuta's attention. He asks why they always seem to feel like they have to beat humans. Gree looks serious now and starts telling him a story about a demon who once fell in love with a human, but the human ended up marrying someone else. As they talk, Yuta brings up Lust's mother and asks what it truly means to surpass humans. He remembers how Rubia and Slow had tried to stop him from leaving the demon world, and how they all seemed to care about him in their own ways. Gree gently tells him to keep trying harder, because she'd like to be alone with him more often. He wonders what it means to endure the darkness she mentioned, or if she's hinting at something deeper. Later they arrive at a hotel, and Yuta nervously asks if she's playing games with him again. He can't help thinking that Gree is the hardest of all the girls to understand. They soon arrive at a large old building, a haunted house. Gree admits she's scared, but insists they go in together. Yuta, who's never been a fan of haunted houses, gulps. Inside, it's freezing cold. A ghostly woman suddenly appears, scaring Yuta half to death, while Gree giggles nervously and says she's terrified too. Her chest brushes against him as she stumbles closer, and two nearby guys watching them whisper to each other, confirming that it's definitely Yuta. They can't believe how popular he's become, already hanging out with another girl. Jealous, they decide to teach him a lesson and show him what fear really means. But Gree's power starts to flare up, and the bullies freeze, feeling something strange. They panic, saying they just wanted to scare him. Gree tries to calm them down, but the pranksters toss a few wind machines their way, blowing air everywhere. Yuta, confused and flustered, shields his face. The gust lifts Gree's skirt, revealing her underwear. She huffs and says, "The breeze is being mischievous," then teases Yuta, asking if he got a good look. When she starts to lift her dress again, Yuta pleads with her to stop. The two guys keep watching, but their plan completely backfires. The scene only makes the pair look even more intimate. Suddenly, ice cubes drop from above, startling Yuta. Gree rushes to help, brushing the ice off his head, but he accidentally tugs one of the strings on her outfit. She laughs it off, saying it's fine, and they finally make it to the exit. Yuta stands there holding part of her outfit, unsure what to do. Gree whispers that he can do whatever he wants with it, making him yell for her to put it back on. The bullies give up watching, realizing they've only made things more romantic. Gree tells Yuta to stay quiet for a moment, smiling softly. She admits that Yuta really isn't good with haunted houses, and asks him to tell her whenever something scares him. Then she thanks him for doing his best. Yuta looks at her in awe, touched by her words. Gree adds that her goal was to take him somewhere dark so she could see how he'd react. When he asks if she's ever scared of anything, she smiles faintly, saying there is one thing. She walks a few steps away, then turns back and admits softly that her biggest fear is being hated by him. The honesty in her eyes leaves Yuta speechless. She quickly laughs it off, saying she was just joking, and tells him everyone's waiting for dinner back home. As she walks ahead, Yuta thinks to himself that maybe she said it was a joke, but her eyes definitely didn't lie. When they finally return home, Lust gently calls out to him. She asks if he went on a secret date with Gree and pouts that she's feeling lonely. Yuta is caught off guard as Lust's powers start to flare up again. One of the girls is reading a magazine that shows different kinds of human makeup. Her friend tells her she should return the magazine to Nodoka, but the girl is clearly very interested and keeps reading. Later, Yuta returns home, completely worn out. He's tired both physically and mentally. Suddenly, he notices two of his girlfriends standing there, dressed in flashy outfits. Shocked, he asks why they're wearing clothes like that. They explain that they were influenced by something they saw on TV. One of them asks if she looks cute. Yuta replies honestly that all her features are beautiful, but adds that the outfit feels a bit too much. One of the girls grabs his arm and pulls him closer. On the table, there's a plate of food. Yuta asks if the two of them made it and says it looks delicious. He's about to eat, but one of the girls tells him to wait. She says she wants to do something first to make it even better. Both girls place their hands over their contract marks and begin feeding him with spoons. Yuta is completely caught off guard. The two of them start competing to see whose spoon he'll choose first. Eventually, Yuta leaves the room, thinking to himself that he didn't really get to enjoy the meal at all. Feeling overwhelmed, he decides to take a bath to clear his head. As he moves through the house, two other girls appear. They say they've been waiting patiently for him. Gree explains that she heard Yuta wasn't feeling well, so she came to check on him. Another girl steps closer and says she dressed that way because she was worried about him. Things quickly get awkward. Gree smiles and says his heart is beating very fast, joking that this must be a love condition. She teasingly claims that there's only one cure. Rubia, however, looks irritated. She grabs Yuta's hands and asks if that's really true, clearly unhappy with the situation. Yuta somehow manages to escape again. Even though nothing serious happened, he feels completely drained. He doesn't understand why everyone is suddenly acting like this. All he wants now is some real rest and a proper bath. But then, two more girls are waiting for him, Slow and Belle. Yuta asks if they're being serious or just messing with him. They shake their heads and say they aren't joking. They genuinely want to make him happy and plan to keep trying. Belle starts acting cute, like a little bunny, and asks Yuta to pet her. He's confused and thinks maybe they're treating this like some kind of therapy. Slow calmly explains that they're all trying to help him feel better in their own way. Yuta apologizes to Belle for not paying her enough attention. She asks him to pet her too, but he hesitates, clearly uncomfortable. Before things can go any further, someone else calls out to him. This time, it's Lust. Yuta freezes, wondering if this is yet another attempt to heal him. Lust admits she's not used to acting this way, but she's willing to try if that's what he wants. When she realizes Yuta is overwhelmed and refuses, she becomes discouraged. She explains that she was only trying to change things up a bit. Another girl flips through the makeup magazine and calls out to him. Suddenly, all 7 girls gather together and explain that everything they did was meant as a way to show their affection. Yuta finally understands. It hasn't been that long since he signed the contract, and they're all still figuring things out. He thanks them sincerely for caring about him. However, he also admits something important. He's not really attracted to that particular style. The girls misunderstand what he means and suddenly hug him all at once. The next day arrives quickly, and a lot happens. Kanzaki shows up, reminding Belle that they had plans to go out together. She notices Utah holding another outfit and finds his embarrassment amusing, teasing him about how much he seems to admire cosplay. Later, everyone gathers for Mommy's party. The girls are invited to eat freely, though one of them wonders if it's really okay with so much food around. It seems one demon is still missing somewhere. Meanwhile, Lust is clearly happy to have Utah, mostly to herself for the day. It looks like they'll be spending a few days together. Utah notices that Lust is acting very differently than usual, and he feels he needs to be careful. He can sense himself losing focus. Back at the table, one girl mentions that her friend said she'd be spending several days alone with her love. Another woman comments that someone's just in a bad mood. Lust, however, has plans. She tells Utah she wants to do many things together. First, she asks him to wait while she changes into something more comfortable. When she returns, Utah is surprised by what she considers comfortable, but reminds himself that she is the demon of lust. Even so, he notices that this isn't something she usually wears. Wanting to make up for not giving her enough attention before, Utah decides to support her. Lust finally appears again, apologizing for the delay. She's now wearing something more relaxed and asks what he thinks. Utah says it suits her well. Lust smiles and says things are going to change from now on. She wants to spend time with him properly. She starts by showing him a game that combines music and movement, something she's always wanted to try but was too shy to do alone. As the video starts, Lust invites Utah to join her. He realizes this is something completely new for both of them. The woman in the video begins to demonstrate the movements, and Utah starts copying her. He thinks the song might be a little too difficult for Lust to try on her first attempt. She looks embarrassed, and her body starts to sweat from nervousness as she tries to keep up with the pace. Utah watches her with quiet admiration. Lust struggles to focus, but she keeps moving until the routine finally ends. She laughs lightly and makes a small joke. Next comes the muscle toning part. Utah sits down to rest while Lust asks him to support her by cheering her on. He's surprised to see her so relaxed and playful. Seeing her genuinely enjoy herself makes him happy. From the bed, Utah encourages her with kind words. Lust steps closer and asks if she's doing it right, which makes him freeze for a moment. She turns around and crouches down, saying she needs to finish the game properly. When the game ends, Lust apologizes shyly for showing too much. Then she asks if Utah would like to watch a romantic movie with her. He admits he's never been interested in romantic films, but since it's important to her, he agrees. Lust is clearly happy. She's always seen couples doing things together on TV and wanted that experience. As they watch, a couple on the screen starts kissing. Both of them fall silent. Utah feels embarrassed, and Lust does too. She gently touches his hand, and the mood becomes awkward. Lust moves closer and says there's one more thing she wants to tell him. She lies beside him and says she wants to stay there with him for a while. Utah is stunned and unsure how to react. Lust smiles and says she's happy, especially because they can simply be together like this. She explains that she promised herself she wouldn't pressure Utah and that she's satisfied just spending time with him. Utah gently refuses when things begin to feel like too much. Lust asks why and mentions Gree, but Utah quickly explains that nothing happened and it was all a misunderstanding. Realizing she believed the wrong thing again, Lust looks embarrassed. Utah comforts her, saying that at least this time she didn't lose control. Lust agrees and says she feels loved. She mentions something her mother once told her about relationships needing trust. Then Lust suddenly puts her hands together and says she believes they are engaged, meaning their relationship should move to the next stage. Utah is completely confused by this. Later at school, Kanzaki and Utah are talking in the classroom. She asks if his parents are really going to meet the demon girl. Utah confirms and explains it will be through a video call because his parents are mystery hunters and usually have no signal. Kanzaki is surprised and says it sounds like something from a movie. As they talk, Utah realizes they actually have a lot in common. Kanzaki then asks if he thinks this is a good idea. Utah is confused and asks what she means. She explains that his parents might find it strange that he lives with demons. Utah says there are only 7 demons, but Kanzaki says she saw a photo of a tanned blonde woman near a pool at night. Utah explains that she's a demon's mother and that he has no contract with her. Kanzaki relaxes after hearing that, but then realizes things are becoming serious if parents are getting involved. She suddenly goes quiet. Utah calls her name, and she apologizes, saying she was lost in thought. He says he'll take the journal to the teacher, but Kanzaki stops him and asks a question that's been bothering her. She asks what would happen to the contract if the demons found out he was dating a human. The question shocks Utah, leaving him speechless. Suddenly, a loud voice interrupts them. It's Slow, the demon of sloth, entering the room with Barus, the demon of gluttony. Yuta is startled to see them at school. He asks why they're wearing school uniforms, just as Kanzaki walks over. She says she'll take the journal to the teacher's office and tells Yuta to leave with his girlfriends. Yuta thanks her and tells the demons to hurry up. Kanzaki waves goodbye as they leave. Before they leave, Slow asks Kanzaki to wait. She calmly tells her that if Yuta gets involved with a human, he will die. Because of that, he must never have any kind of relationship with humans. Yuta notices that Slow stayed behind and tells her to hurry up. She joins him and asks if they're going to explore the school. Yuta immediately says no. They're going home. Back in the classroom, Kanzaki sits alone, thinking about what Slow said. The words make her feel very sad. On the rooftop, Yuta says their visit has to be quick. Barus asks Slow why she said those things to Kanzaki. Slow answers sarcastically, asking if she wasn't supposed to. She looks up at the ceiling and asks to see more of the school, but Yuta refuses again. Still, he fails to stop them, and the three of them start walking around. The girls find everything interesting and fun. Yuta becomes nervous and says they've already seen enough. Suddenly, a school advisor appears and asks who's there. The three panic and run, but Slow complains that she's sleepy, which irritates Yuta. He pushes her forward so they can escape. He also grabs Barus's hand, and they hide inside a classroom. The advisor keeps walking around, searching. When he comes close to the room, Yuta starts to panic. If he gets caught, he could be suspended. The two girls hug him tightly, making him even more flustered. Slow says she's nervous, and Barus asks if Yuta is too. Luckily, the advisor gives up and leaves. They finally escape the school. Relieved, Yuta celebrates that they weren't found. Barus happily says school is fun. Yuta says he's glad they enjoyed it, but asks them to warn him next time. The girls reply that warning him would ruin the fun because they wanted to see their future husband's daily life. Yuta freezes in shock. Barus casually adds that she wants the wedding to be at night. Still stunned, Yuta thinks about how fast things are moving. Meeting parents is one thing, but marriage is too much. He's still in high school. Meanwhile, at her family's restaurant, Kanzaki keeps thinking about what Slow said. If someone gets involved with Yuta, he will die. She wonders if Yuta knew this when he signed the contract. Back at the Agatsuma house, Yuta's sister Yoru says she's happy to see their parents. She notices Yuta looks uneasy and asks what's wrong. He admits he's nervous about the demons meeting their parents. Yuta's parents appear on a video call. They're excited about their trip and plan to send lots of photos. Yoru listens happily, but Yuta gets distracted when Lars smiles and invites him to go out. Yuta snaps and says not to interrupt while he's talking to his parents, since he decided not to tell them about the contract. But Lars laughs loudly, and the parents hear it. His mother asks if someone else is there. Excited, Levi suddenly jumps into view and introduces herself as the Demon of Wrath. The parents are surprised by how beautiful she is, and joke that demons look different than expected. Levi spreads her wings and asks if she still doesn't look like a demon. The other girls watch closely. Lars, the Demon of Envy, gets upset that Levi was introduced first, even though they agreed to do it later. Barus walks over and tells Yuta that everyone is waiting to greet the parents. Yuta's father hears the noise and says it's fine. They can talk to everyone. Lars waves and introduces herself as Envy. Then Slow appears and introduces herself as Sloth. Barus follows, smiling brightly. The parents say the girls are charming and notice that each represents one of the 7 deadly sins. Levi tries to push closer to the screen, saying she needs space to see her in-laws. Slow glares at her, and the two almost start fighting. Yuta panics, worried his parents will think something is wrong. He remembers promising to handle everything while they were away. Lust enters to calm everyone down. She warns that fighting will cause trouble for Yuta, then politely introduces herself as Lust and apologizes for the others. The parents are shocked again, and Yuta's mother comments that she seems very powerful. Lust bows and says Yuta is a good boy who helps them a lot, leaving the parents confused. Finally, Yuta's father thanks everyone for meeting them. His mother asks if Yuta gets along with all the demons. The rest arrive. Gree cheerfully says the mother-in-law doesn't need to worry and introduces herself with a playful wink. Rubia follows, gracefully introducing herself as the Demon of Pride. Gree explains that they were worried at first because they didn't know what kind of person their summoner would be. But Yuta has been kind and charismatic. She adds that they're grateful the parents summoned and accepted them as they are. Levi laughs, and while Lust tries to cover her mouth, Levi says that if Yuta were a bad person, the whole world would know by now. Yuta's mother smiles proudly and says she must have raised him well. She adds that thanks to him, she could finally travel abroad. Yoru and Yuta listen, as she says she had no worries leaving them alone, and that it looks like they're having even more fun at home. Then Yuta's parents ask for all the demons to appear on screen together. After that, they make a special request, asking the girls to continue taking good care of Yoru and Yuta. Yuta freezes when he hears this. His parents clearly have no idea how serious everything really is. Excited, Lars answers right away that of course they will. All the demons speak together, telling the parents they can relax and leave the young man in their care. Yuta's father laughs, happy to see how lively and energetic the girls are. His mother, however, looks at the time and becomes anxious. They say goodbye to everyone and promise to stay in touch. Yoru and Yuta say goodbye too, and Yoru asks them to send messages whenever they see something interesting. The call ends. Yuta lets out a long breath of relief. Somehow, everything worked out. Suddenly, Yoru's phone rings. It's the president of the Black Magic Club. She answers and says she's about to leave. Yuta tells her firmly to come straight home before it gets dark. Later, gathered in the living room with all the demons, Yuta thanks them for helping him. Lust says it was an important moment for them as well. Lars looks thrilled and declares that now that everyone has been introduced, the next step is to proceed with the marriage ritual. Yuta swallows hard when he hears the word marriage. Lust quickly tries to change the topic, but Gree casually explains that demon marriages usually happen within 3 months. Rubia says she didn't know that, while Yuta protests that everything is moving way too fast. One of the girls comments that they should start adapting to human customs. Levi adds that if they have to do it eventually, they might as well start now. Yuta panics and asks what kind of ritual this even is. Rubia agrees and says they should explain it properly first. Lust explains that it's actually very simple. The demons pour their magic into the contractor's body. Yuta doesn't fully understand and starts to worry that he might turn into a demon. Rubia assures him that won't happen. Instead, his body will become resistant to demonic magic. Lars cheerfully says she'd like Yuta to come live in the demon world. Levi immediately points out that humans can't live there. Yuta thinks learning about the demon world and actually going there are very different things. Levi hugs him and says that once their magic is inside his body, he'll be able to enter the demon world safely. Lust adds that this ritual is essential when a love contract is involved and decides they should begin right away. Despite Yuta's protests, she gently lays him down and tells him it won't hurt. She releases her tail and briefly touches his abdomen. She says it's done. Suspicious, Yuta asks if that was really all. Gree says no. That was only the beginning. She lifts his shirt slightly, and Yuta is shocked to see that the contract mark has moved from his back to his abdomen. She explains that magic flows through that area because it's where spiritual energy gathers. Yuta asks if it's the same as before. Gree says it's different. She kneels and transfers her magic through the mark in the proper way. Yuta feels a sudden rush of energy and panics, collapsing onto the couch afterward. Gree calmly explains that this is how magic is directly transferred. Yuta admits his body feels full of energy and asks if it's finally over. Levi shakes her head and says it's not finished yet. All the other demons also have to pass their magic to him. Yuta stares at them in disbelief. He can't believe he has to go through this 6 more times. Lars eagerly goes next. She leans in and completes her part of the ritual. Yuta struggles to stay calm as he feels another wave of magic. Lars proudly tells him that now he'll be able to visit the demon world whenever he wants. Next, Levi steps forward. She takes her time, making Yuta extremely nervous. Sensing this, she smirks, clearly enjoying his reaction. Lust impatiently tells her to hurry up. Then it's Rubia's turn. She complains, asking why she has to do something like this. Yuta is secretly relieved that she seems reluctant. Levi points out that Rubia herself explained the ritual earlier. Gree remarks that Rubia agreed to the marriage ritual because she wanted to, not because she was forced. Rubia steps closer, clearly flustered, and completes her part quickly. Embarrassed, she walks away, leaving Yuta surprised by how gentle it felt. Gree teasingly says that for someone who claimed she didn't want to do it, Rubia seemed quite sincere. Yuta says his body feels strange again. Lust asks if he's okay, and explains that her magic is stronger than the others. She suggests letting him rest, but Yuta refuses, saying it's better to finish it quickly. Lust kneels and quietly says she wishes she could show her feelings more clearly. She completes the ritual in her own way, leaving everyone stunned. Belle asks what she just did. Lust simply smiles, and replies that her magic can be unpredictable. While the girls continue arguing, Yuta realizes he was completely caught off guard. Looking sleepy and sluggish, Slow lazily says it's her turn. Barely able to stay awake, she stumbles over and grabs Yuta. Clumsily, she clings to him and pushes him down onto the floor. She ends up on top of him, pressing her weight against his body. Yuta feels a strange mix of sensations as overwhelming drowsiness washes over him. Panicking, he yells at her not to fall asleep on top of him. In the end, they leave Slow dozing peacefully on the couch. Finally, it's Belle's turn. She shyly explains that she doesn't have much magic, but she'll do her best anyway. Yuta is relieved, knowing it's almost over, and that he couldn't handle much more. He feels Belle's magic gently merge into his body. Then she finishes by kissing the mark. Suddenly, Yuta yells and asks what she just did. Belle calmly replies that she only took a small nibble because she was hungry. Looking closer, Yuta notices faint bite marks around the tattoo. Still feeling a little pain, he points out that the marks are clearly visible. Lars immediately throws a fit, shouting that she wants to leave a bigger mark too. One by one, the other demons agree, saying they want to do the same. Cornered, Yuta backs away as they step closer. Excited, Lars tells everyone to leave their marks on him. Meanwhile, members of the Black Magic Club visit Kanzaki. Yuru is with them, accompanied by a beautiful woman Kanzaki has never met before. With a cheerful smile, the woman introduces herself as the Demon Mother and says she's happy to meet Kanzaki. Yuru apologizes for coming so suddenly, explaining they wanted to see Belle at work. The Demon Mother is very warm toward Kanzaki, especially because she knows the girl treats her daughter kindly. Kanzaki finds it surprising how similar demon mothers are to human ones. Then the Demon Mother suddenly remembers something. With a mischievous tone, she comments that Kanzaki used to be Yuta's girlfriend. Both Yoru and Kanzaki panic. The mother asks if it's true. Flustered, Kanzaki tries to explain herself. Calmly, the Supreme Demon says that couldn't be possible. If Yuta had a human girlfriend, he would die. She proudly explains that she herself altered the love contract. Kanzaki freezes. She asks why the rules were changed. The mother admits that she was once angry at humans for rejecting demons. When she was younger, she acted impulsively. Now she regrets it and says she once wondered if humans and demons could truly accept each other as partners. Worried, Kanzaki asks if the contract can be undone. The mother shakes her head and says it's impossible. Over time, she gave all her power to her daughters. Only someone as strong as she once was could undo it. Back at home, Lars showers Yuta with kisses. A purple mark is clearly visible on his neck. Smiling proudly, she says she finally left proof of her love on him. Yuta nervously asks if it's a hickey. The other demons immediately ask if he's ready for theirs too. Lars keeps kissing his neck and ear, and soon everyone wants to leave a mark. Gree steps forward and does the same, whispering teasingly that hers will be even bigger. Yuta begs her to stop. Then Lust grabs his face, clearly competitive. Wanting her mark to stand out, she goes straight for his cheek. Yuta protests and tries to turn away, but she gently holds his face. Worried about being seen, Yuta asks when the marks will disappear. Levi, without warning, sneaks in and leaves one on his side. Yuta jumps in surprise, feeling ticklish. Levi laughs and says his sides are adorable. She hugs him from behind, saying she wants to do more, but Rubia tells her to stop bothering him. The two start arguing, and someone points out it's now Rubia's turn. Rubia approaches with an annoyed expression. Yuta feels uneasy. Without warning, she lifts his shirt and quickly leaves her mark near his neck. When she finishes, she asks coldly if that's enough. Levi teases her, saying it doesn't even look clear. Then Slow suddenly grabs Yuta's legs and kisses his thighs, laughing that it feels like a mosquito bite. Belle tries to go again, but Lars stops her, clearly jealous. Yuta rushes to the mirror and sees several purple marks across his body. Panicking, he asks when they'll fade. Gree explains that since they're small bruises, it could take about a week. Realizing he has school the next day, Yuta runs away to hide, but suddenly bumps into Kanzaki, who came to visit. She asks about Belle, but when she notices the marks, she gets flustered and apologizes for interrupting. Inside Belle's room, Kanzaki apologizes again for arriving suddenly. Belle starts to talk about school, but Kanzaki interrupts and explains that the demon mother visited her. She reveals that it was the mother who altered the contract. Belle is shocked. Seeing her reaction, Kanzaki becomes uneasy and suggests slowing the conversation down. She then explains that the contract can only be undone by someone with the same level of power as the demon mother. Belle quietly admits her own magic is weak. An awkward silence follows. Kanzaki finally asks if Belle likes Yuta. Embarrassed, she says Belle doesn't have to answer if she doesn't want to. Belle admits that while her power is the weakest, she truly cares about Yuta. She recalls how he helped her find a job and how much she enjoys his cooking. But more than anything, she loves how fun it is, just being with him. Kanzaki is deeply moved. Smiling softly, she says she understands, because she also feels happiest when she's with him. Belle notices how Kanzaki lights up when she talks about Yuta, and gently asks if she likes him too. Kanzaki turns bright red. Nervous, she considers denying it, but finally says it doesn't matter. Yuta already has many girlfriends, and if he ever gets involved with a human again, he might die. Listening carefully, Belle gets an idea. The demon of gluttony suggests turning Kanzaki into a demon. Kanzaki is shocked by this idea. Curious, she asks if that is really possible, and Belle says she has a plan. Meanwhile, Yuta is trying to hide the bite marks on his body with bandages. However, he quickly realizes it is pointless, since the bandages only draw more attention. Without meaning to, he starts wondering what Kanzaki and Belle are talking about. Suddenly, the two of them enter the room and ask if he has a moment. Kanzaki hesitates and asks Belle to wait, but it is already too late. Wearing a dominatrix-style outfit, Kanzaki steps into the room shyly. Yuta is completely flustered. He asks what kind of outfit she is wearing, and Belle explains that Kanzaki is doing a demon cosplay. Yuta recognizes the clothes as belonging to gluttony. Feeling insecure, Kanzaki asks if she looks strange. Yuta quickly reassures her and says she looks good. Noticing how tight the corset is, he asks why she chose to wear something like that. Before she can answer, the corset suddenly breaks. Kanzaki panics and tries to cover herself. Embarrassed, Yuta quickly turns his back while she crouches down, hiding herself. Belle notices that there is a genuine feeling between the two of them. After the awkward moment passes, Kanzaki says goodbye and leaves. Yuta apologizes again for what happened. He asks if Belle forced her to wear that outfit and starts getting angry, but Kanzaki admits it was her own idea. Yuta is surprised. Kanzaki explains that she thought if she dressed like a demon, she might become one. And if she became a demon, she could be Yuta's girlfriend. Hearing her confession, Yuta can hardly believe it. Kanzaki smiles gently, clearly nervous but sincere. As she adjusts her clothes, she says they will talk more at school before leaving. Left behind, Yuta is completely confused. He wonders if what she said was really a confession. Even though he feels foolish for letting her go so easily, he cannot help feeling happy. From the window, Belle watches him quietly. She knows something important is happening. Turning to the other demons behind her, she says they need to talk. The others look suspicious as the meeting begins. Back home, Kanzaki reflects on everything. She realizes that while she was confused about her feelings before, she now finally understands them. Livy calls Yuta to tell him that the girls are going out for a girls-only gathering. She adds that they will be back the next morning. The girls seem excited. After the call ends, Yuta feels a bit curious and uneasy. He regrets not going to the magic training camp. Now he realizes he will be alone and starts wondering what the girls are planning. At home, Yuta thinks about how to spend his free time. He notices he made too much food and wonders if the girls will eat it the next day. With no one to play video games with, he starts feeling bored. Only then does he realize how quiet the house feels without them. A strange feeling settles in, both boredom and loneliness. Meanwhile, the girls arrive at their destination. The place is beautiful and they are impressed, especially by the large outdoor bath. Lust feels uneasy about leaving Yuta alone and feels guilty for having fun without him. Gree tells her not to worry, saying that he is a boy and surely has things to enjoy by himself. Curious, Levy asks what they think Yuta might be doing right now. Gree suggests they should talk, all 7 of them together. Slow asks why Rubia chose this place. Rubia avoids the question and says it is good to have moments like this sometimes. Levy suggests they bathe and eat first, and talk later. The girls enjoy bathing together. It has been a long time since they used such a large bath. While soaking, Gree asks Rubia what the real reason for the gathering is. Rubia grows serious. She hesitates, then finally speaks. She tells her sisters that she wants to redo the love contract with Yuta. All 6 of them are shocked. Rubia explains that she wants to remove the clause that says Yuta will die if he dates a human. However, she admits she cannot do it alone. She needs everyone to agree and ask for their support. Lars struggles to understand what she just heard. Lars looks cold and disapproving. Livy immediately objects, panicking at the thought of what humans might do to Yuta. She says they have already discussed this before. Gree wonders why they are even worrying about humans. While Lars tells everyone to calm down, Gree asks if Rubia wants them to end up with a human boyfriend like before. Lust admits she suspected something like this. Levy says the logic is clear, but Lars is shocked that her sisters already guessed Rubia's plan. Levy raises her voice, asking why everyone is so calm when Yuta is still human. Rubia says it is unfair to be with him under false rules. They are demons, not humans. Slow stays quiet for a moment, trying to process everything. Lust says it would not be surprising if one of them betrayed Yuta someday. Slow responds that they must stay united. Lust insists that Yuta would never abandon them. Lars feels insecure and unsure how to argue. The discussion grows heated. Gree says she does not care and just wants to have fun. Levy becomes jealous. Lars asks Slow what she thinks. Sleepy as always, Slow says little, but notes that this is the first time Rubia has made such a suggestion. Back at home, Yuta lies in bed, unable to sleep. His thoughts wander. He wonders what Kanzaki might say the next time they meet. As he tosses and turns, he hears a noise. He assumes it is the wind, but when he pulls the curtain aside, he finds Lars standing outside looking stunning. Confused, Yuta asks why she is back already. Before he can finish, Lars jumps on him excitedly. Now on the floor with her on top of him, he tries to ask what happened, but she only hugs him tightly and calls him darling. Suddenly she asks what he thinks about Kanzaki. Caught off guard, Yuta freezes. Nervously, Lars asks what he would do if the contract did not say he would die for dating a human. She stares at him intensely, waiting for his answer. Feeling pressured, Yuta gathers his courage and speaks honestly. He admits that he does not fully understand love. He does not know exactly what being in love feels like. But before meeting the demons, he admired Kanzaki and always felt nervous around her. Lars listens in shock. Then she breaks down and cries, saying she knew it. She accuses him of wanting to break the contract just to date humans again. Yuta quickly denies this, begging her not to misunderstand him. Calming down, Lars admits she did not understand love at first either. Sitting in front of him, she explains that the thought of humans taking Yuta away fills her with fear and sadness. Remembering their time together, she softly confesses that she loves him deeply. Yuta looks into her eyes, clenching his fists. With determination, he promises he will never betray them. He says he knows humans have betrayed demons before, but he is different. He thinks of all 7 girls and knows he cannot do anything to make them sad. He also remembers the promise he made to his mother, to be a good boyfriend. Moved, Lars jumps on him again and hugs him tightly, kissing his cheek. Yuta becomes shy. He notices that she always kisses him, but never on the lips. Casually, Lars says that kisses on the mouth are for marriage. Yuta is startled. She admits it feels strange that she is always the one kissing him, while he never takes the initiative. Nervous and unsure, Yuta freezes as she closes her eyes and waits. After a moment, he slowly leans in, determined to kiss her for the first time. Before he can, Lars laughs softly and gives him a loud kiss on the cheek, saying she is really happy. Suddenly, Yuta feels like someone is watching them. He notices Lust observing from a distance. She had guessed that if Lars was gone, she must be with Yuta. Strangely excited, Lust wonders how to react to this betrayal, especially since Yuta has not kissed any of the other sisters yet. Realizing that things might be moving too fast with Lars, Yuta mutters that this is already more complicated than it was with Kanzaki.
Please!
Subscribe.
I need this! My mom is kind of homeless.